Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto and Hinata leaves Konoha after the Hyuuga incident part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Coming back from a dangerous mission, Naruto and teammate came across the gate as they were disappointed to how their mission became a huge failure. The team went out to find a rare tracking bug that can help locate Sasuke and bring him back home. Unfortunately, they were cornered by bug bandits from another clan and attacked by each one. Luckily, Hinata came to the rescue and saved her comrades and Naruto from certain death. And with a giant bee going for a direct attack, Naruto swoops in and finished it with his ultimate Rasengan technique. But from the impact, the beetle was smashed and it became hopeless for them to find Sasuke. Although they failed, the group did take Suzumabachi with them for interrogation. Man, I can't believe all that hard work for nothing. Now we're never going to find Sasuke. Naruto said as he was frustrated for what happened. Hey, don't sweat it. I'm sure we can try again next time. Kibari assured him as Akamaru barked at him with agreement. Indeed. We can always be thankful that none of us were killed during this mission. Shino stated while carrying the leader in his arms. Naruto sighs deeply as he looks down. I know, but. Hinata sees this from him and asked, what wrong, and then Naruto. This whole mission was to get this bug back here so we can finally bring Sasuke here. We were this close into getting the mission done right until this girl ruined it. Naruto glares at Suzumabachi. And what's worse is that Sakura might hate me now since I failed to keep my promise to her. Hinata knew that must have hurt him to lose his own teammate and had no choice but to fight him. After his last battle with Sasuke, Naruto and Sakura had to find another way to locate the missing Uchiha. Nevertheless, that plan failed as Kabuto had a few members of the Hyuuga clan, setting a trap for them. Hinata was hurt to see her crush be down like this as she gave him a soft touch on his shoulders. It's okay, Naruto. Accidents can happen to a lot of people. But how can I do anything when I destroyed the bug? Naruto said as she still looks down. And Naruto, don't you ever doubt yourself that you fail. I can know that you wanted to find why your friend, but just realize that we never gave you up. Hinata said while stuttering. Naruto was surprised that Hinata said all that to him as he didn't even know how much she wanted to help him out. Naruto looks up to her and smile. You know. You're right, Hinata. Thank you, I needed that. Naruto said to her. Hinata smiled with a pink blush and replied, and no problem, and Naruto. Hiba was happy to see this as he was proud of Hinata to help her crush out of his slump. He knows that she likes him more than just a friend after what he has done for her. Although Naruto does not know that she loves him, Kiba believes that Hinata will get the chance to confess her heart to him. Naruto. Hey there. Just then, Naruto looks forward to see Sakura coming up towards him and the group. Naruto was now scared to know that he will get the beating of a lifetime that he will tell her the bad news. Hey Naruto. Back from your mission. Why yeah, Sakura. Had to come back and bring this girl here. Naruto points to the sleeping girl in Shino's arms. Sakura asked, who is she? Her name is Suzumabachi and she used to be in a clan that was rivaled against my own. Her and the other bandits were the ones to try and stop our mission. However, we took them down and found that she was the only survivor left. We're taking her now to see the Hokage at this very moment. Shino explains. Oh, okay. But where's the bug? Sakura asked. Naruto sighed deeply and knew she would ask that question. You see, Sakura Suzumabachi summoned this giant bee and it was heading straight at Hinata. Therefore, I used Rasengan, obliterated her pet and knocked her out in the process. But what? Sakura asked calmly and fearing what happened. The impact from the giant bee seems to kill the Pikachu beetle in the aftermath. We found it and it got crushed. It was the only thing to locate Sasuke and I screwed up big time. Please, Sakura, I'm sorry. Naruto flinched as he got ready for another bashing from Sakura. He waits for the pain, but nothing happened. He slowly opens his eyes to see that Sakura was not even flinching one bit after hearing the news. In fact, she was looking a little sad to hear that the only thing to find her friend killed. So this means the mission was a complete failure. Sakura said as Naruto gains composure and nod. It seems like it. Naruto answered. But why are you not mad? Don't you want to hit me for being a complete idiot? Sakura flinched a little to understand what he means by that. She quickly remembers all the time that she always heard him and calling him names for just doing ridiculous things in front of her. She felt bad for doing those things to him and knew he was just being himself for attention. Sakura shook her head and said, actually, I'm not mad at you and I'm certainly not going to hit you again. It's not your fault. Naruto was shocked to hear what she just said to him. Sakura. Are you heading towards Lady Tsunade's office, Naruto? Sakura asked Naruto. Of course. We need to debrief about the mission and see what we need to do with her. Naruto answered while still in shock. Why? I was thinking we can talk about what happened on the mission you were in. Sakura looks at Shino. You don't mind if I talk with Naruto for a minute, do you? Shino shrugged his shoulders. He's your teammate. Go ahead. I'll make sure to tell the Hokage he's with you. Sakura nodded happily. Thank you. Teammate then left, but Sakura pulls Hinata closer to her so she can whisper something. Did you tell Naruto yet? Hinata shook her head. Sakura knew about how Hinata was always in love with him and tries to get the brunette to confess to him. But the poor girl faints all the time to even say the right words. Sorry. It's okay, Hinata, just be patient and maybe you will have the courage to tell him. Sakura said with a smile. She hugs Hinata as the brunette decides to head home. Kiba and Shino did not mind as they headed on their way. So, are you ready to go? Sakura spoke to Naruto. Sure. But what were you and Hinata talking about? Naruto asked. Sakura giggled. Oh, Naruto. It's a girl thing. Boys are never allowed to hear it. Naruto sighs and replied, fine. Naruto and Sakura then walk away to head towards Naruto's favorite spot. Ichiraku's. Naruto and Sakura continue to wait on their food as Naruto explains about how the mission was. By every detail, Sakura was astounded by how Naruto was explaining to how it was almost a complete success thanks to Hinata. Naruto even told her about how Hinata was brave enough to survive a near-fatal death from the waterfall. That's amazing. So what happens after that? Sakura questioned with an interested look. Out of nowhere, Hinata appeared in front of us after knowing she survived. She was a little wet, but Hinata was brave to face two of Suzumabachi's brothers with her new technique. I mean, her technique took down about thousands of bees and slicing them up into itty-bitty pieces. Naruto stated. And what about this giant bee? Sakura mentioned. Surely she didn't defeat the thing on her own. Oh, but she did. Naruto exclaimed as Sakura was shocked in disbelief. She sends that thing packing and taking it down hard on the two bandits. Ouch. Sakura cringed to imagine a giant bee crushing those bad guys. And did you finish it off? Naruto grinned widely. You know I did. But don't think I did the work. Hinata is the one you should be thanking. She helped locate the bug, saved us from danger, and became a true friend to help the team out. Sakura giggled softly to know how Naruto was describing Hinata in a nice way. Tucci gave them their meals as they began to eat. So, Hinata has been a great help, huh? She has, Sakura. I wish you could have seen her for the past few days. Hinata just came from being this weird girl who was shy and afraid to this awesome girl with courage and bravery in her heart. Strange, I can believe that you and her might be sisters. Naruto and Sakura laugh at his remark. What makes you say that? Sakura suggested as she ate her noodles. Naruto blushed as he looks at his ramen. Well, you both are pretty girls, you always fight back when the mission gets hectic and you two are the best in the village. Sakura blushed and giggled at Naruto's compliment to her and Hinata. Oh, Naruto. That is so sweet. Naruto laughed sheepishly and said, it's the truth. Sakura, I know you can be mean at some times, but I know you have a sweet heart inside that needed the love. I just hope that the right will be happy to go out with a nice girl like you. Sakura felt happy that Naruto would say something like that to her. Sakura never had a deep connection with Naruto unless it was like a sibling moment for them. Still, she loves having these kind of talks with him. Thanks Naruto. You've just made my day. You're welcome Sakura. Naruto said as he ate some more of his ramen. Say Naruto, what do you think of Hinata? And what else did you experience from the mission? Naruto was thinking about what else that happened on the mission and looking back to what he was his favorite part of the mission. Suddenly, his cheeks were glowing red as he remembers something that made him nervous. This caught Sakura's attention as she can see Naruto turning red. Naruto. What happened? Well, can you not laugh if I tell you? Naruto mumbled softly. I promise. Sakura said as she crossed her heart. Naruto took a deep breath and exhaled sharply. He looks at Sakura and said, during our mission, I was tired and I had to go use the men's room. After I was done, I started to hear the sound of water running down the river. I went over to the sound as I saw a waterfall near a lake as it was a nice scenic view. But as I got there, my life changed forever as I saw this beautiful water maiden. She was the most beautiful thing I have ever seen with the most amazing figure and loving short hair. That water maiden was dancing along with the water as if it was one with her. She was surrounded inside a dome that had made herself dazzling the night. I wanted to see who she was, but I tripped and scared her off. Sakura was surprised to hear how Naruto explains about this mysterious girl Naruto was describing, as if she entranced him. But suddenly, Sakura starts to think of how Naruto described her and dreads, that it wasn't someone she knows. Naruto, did you say she has short hair? Naruto nods. A nice curvy body while naked. He blushed, not nods again. And was she like our age? What are you getting at, Sakura? Naruto said with confusion. Naruto, can you tell me who was the only girl in the team while finding the bug? Sakura asked theoretically. Naruto thought about it and knew about one person that was in the group as it was Hinata. But when it became clear to Sakura's question, Naruto's face lit to realize who that mystery girl was. In addition, the fact that she was naked. Oh, my kami. That girl was Hinata. Sakura laughs at her friend's expression, as she didn't believe that he just described Hinata in the nicest way possible. It seems that you are a total pervert after seeing her like that. Naruto soon blushed red and was silent after figuring out who the mystery girl was. And what made his face more red is that he called her beautiful and amazing. Oh, man. Now Hinata will think I'm really a crazy pervert. She will never forgive for that. Sakura's laughter dies down as she comforts her teammate. Relax, Naruto. I'm sure you didn't mean to. Besides, I bet she feels the same way about you. You did call her the most beautiful girl. Naruto was stunned to hear this from Sakura as he turns to her. Wait. You're not mad. Sakura shook her head and said, nah. But tell me, Naruto, when did you start liking Hinata now? Well, Naruto explains, she was the only one to actually be nice to me after everyone hated me back at Ninja Academy. She even tried to help me with a written exam and almost costing her team to go on. When I was injured, she gave me some ointment for my wounds and gave me the most motivational talk before I faced Neji in the Chunin exams. I just didn't know much about her until I realize how much she's changed. Sounds like you really like her, huh? Sakura stated. Naruto chuckled softly as he looks at her. You can say something like that. Naruto's smile went down as he looks away. But what if she doesn't likes me back? Sakura frowned, but then smiled as she pulls out her money to pay for their meal. Come on, she said as she grabs Naruto by his hand. What? Sakura, where are you taking me? Naruto questioned as she kept pulling him. We are going to see Hinata real quick. Sakura answered. Alright and now? But, Sakura Naruto was then interrupted. No buts, Naruto. We are seeing her right now. Sakura demanded as Naruto had no choices left but to follow Sakura. After walking for a minute, they reached a Hyuuga compound. Naruto was really to see Hinata as he hopes that she likes him back. But as they reached the compound, both Team 7 members spotted someone lying on the ground. Naruto and Sakura came closer and were shocked to see that the person was Hinata. Naruto ran up to her to see her covered in bruises and scratch marks. But what hurt him the most is that Hinata had a huge red mark on her face. Naruto was mad to whoever did this to her, but he heard Hinata say something. And then Naruto, her voice was breaking as tears were coming down her eyes. Sakura came up to her to check if something was broken from Hinata. Hinata, who did this to you? Naruto was filled with anger. Sakura never sees her friend like this since him and Sasuke fought. Naruto. It was my father Hiashi. Naruto was seething with rage as his whole body was slowly glowing with red chakra. Seeing Hinata like this was something he never wanted to see in his life. Hinata, the one who saved him from Suzumabachi and her brothers, was beaten and bruised. The cause. Her father named Hiashi Hyuuga. Why did he do this to you? Naruto spat as Sakura was worried for her friend brother. Hinata had more tears coming down as she speaks to him and Sakura. Didn't he take the news of the mission we were in? I tried to reason with him, but Hinata was then silenced by the pain in her stomach as it was slightly hurting a bit. Sakura sees this as she quickly removes Hinata's jacket. But what horrified her is that Hinata's mesh shirt was revealing palm strikes and small cuts on her stomach. Hinata, hold on. Naruto was getting up as he decides to pay Hiashi a little visit. Stay here, Hinata. Have Sakura heal you until I get back. Sakura looks up to him and shouted, Naruto, where are you going? That bastard is going to pay for hurting Hinata like this. I'll make sure that he apologizes to her until it kills him. Naruto declared as he went over the gates and confronts Hinata's father. Naruto. Sakura shouted as Naruto looks behind him to hear what she said. Be careful. Naruto nodded his head as he left. Sakura then looks down to Hinata and starts to heal her. Oh, Hinata. Hiashi's office. Hiashi sits in his office while calming down from what has happened. He was very upset to hear about the news of Hinata's mission that was very unpleasant. But after hearing about how she failed the Chunin exams against Neji, Hiashi had no choice but to show pure discipline against Hinata while forcing her to fight against Hanabi again. And knowing how well that Hinata was going on the bug retrieval mission, he was a little happy to see how well she would do as this was her last chance to prove herself to the Hyuuga main branch. But as she came to tell him about her and the team failing, Hiashi snapped and struck her daughter with full force. When Hiashi was done with Hinata, he sends his guards to get her and literally throwing her outside the gates with severe bruises. HMPH. To have such an unworthy successor to lead this clan. She's just like her mother, wherever that woman be. Hiashi said as he looks at his picture of his family. He knew it was hurtful to abuse his own daughter like that, but Hiashi starts feeling nothing as he puts the portrait away. And just as he was about to drink his tea. Just who the hell do you think you are? Naruto bursts through the door in anger as he stares straight at the Hyuuga leader. What the hell? How dare you enter here without my consent? Hiashi shouted as he notices the boy. Why are you here, you pathetic peasant? Shut the hell up, you old man. Naruto ranted back as Hiashi was gritting his teeth from Naruto's comment. I can't believe you would do that. What are you speaking of, demon brat? Hiashi shouted back at Naruto. Don't play stupid. What did you do to Hinata? Naruto answered with rage. Hiashi then smirked at Naruto's question. But about her? Naruto then got more enraged from what Hinata's father said without any remorse in his voice for his own daughter badly hurt. What do you mean? Why in the world would you do that to your own daughter? I bet you didn't give her a chance to talk to you. And why should you care? This is between family and none of your business. Now leave or I will have to have my guards come and escort you out by force. Hiashi demanded. No way. I came here to make sure you apologize to Hinata right now and I'm not leaving here until I see you do that. You're her father, damn it. Why can't you be like one and just be happy that she's alive? Naruto yelled. My own daughter, Hiashi bellowed harshly. That girl is nothing more but a failure to this clan and her family. She has failed over many of times and disgraced the Hyuuga name with her constant actions of being a spineless coward. Naruto couldn't have been madder to hear what Hiashi has said about Hinata that way. How dare you? What gave you the right to say that about her? Hinata is the bravest kunoichi I have ever seen in my life. She risked everything to save me and her teammates. But now, you just treat her like garbage after one little mistake. Hiashi then said something that really shook Naruto in rage. The mistake is that I raised an outcast to this Hyuuga clan. Hinata is a fool who was always weak and pathetic like her mother. I have tried everything to make her become the next heir for this main branch as she constantly gets beaten by her own sister many of times. It makes me wonder if Hanabi would grow up to be like her useless sister. I could tell why my own wife would leave her mistakes here with me. Before Naruto would even try to say anything else, he heard a soft sob from behind him. Naruto turns to see Hanabi Hyuuga standing by the doorway and crying. And by the looks of how the tears were still falling down her eyes, Hanabi was there listening the whole time. Hanabi, Naruto said as he came to her as he calms down from yelling at Hiashi. Hanabi ran towards Naruto and hugs his leg tightly. Hey, are you okay? Is it true? Am I a mistake? Hanabi sobbed as her father's words struck her hard. And what hurt her was that her sister was badly hurt after seeing her sister getting thrown outside the gates. What's wrong with me? Naruto got down so she has Hanabi looking up at him. Nothing's wrong with you. But why did he say that about me and my sister? Hanabi was then breaking down in tears as she fell on her knees. Why? Father, why? Naruto then glares at Hiashi with rage and hatred to make him see what he has done. Are you proud of yourself? What kind of father are you? Hiashi smirked. A father who wants to have this clan survives and has the next generations of Hyuuga legends. And I don't have time to waste my time with my own weak children not living up to that goal. That was it. Those were the final words needed to have Naruto lose it. His body was glowing with the fox's red chakra as Naruto starts to have his features shown again like time when we went up against Sasuke. You will pay. Orochi, take me. Naruto charges straight at Hiashi as the Hyuuga leader starts to activate his Byakugan. Naruto went ahead and strike him, but Hiashi dodged his attack. He quickly gains the advantage and did a palm strike at the boy while hitting him near the wall. Hanabi was scared as she left the two as Hiashi was running up to him with full speed. As Naruto got up quickly, Hiashi starts to use his clan's technique. Jaiuken, Gentle Fist. Haki Rakuju Yanshu, Divine 64 strikes. Naruto was then hit by Hiashi's strongest attack and had every blow hit him while pinned to the wall. The impact was massive and Hiashi struck him through the walls and made Naruto crash into the next room. Naruto soon got up and got into his fighting stance. Hiashi was right on top of him as Naruto fought back with fury. He dodged Hiashi's attack and made a direct hit to Hiashi's face. Hiashi was rolling on the ground and was surprised that someone could actually evade his gentle fist technique. Time to apologize, Hiashi. Naruto shouted as he threw several kunes directly at him. Hiashi sees them and moves out of the way as Naruto was throwing some few punches at Hiashi. After the last few, the Hyuuga leader blocks his attack and did a cheap shot towards the stomach with his knees. Naruto quickly recovers and strike back, but Hiashi replied with a fist to his face. Naruto fell down to his knees as Hiashi starts to laugh evilly. Really, you saved the village with this kind of power, no wonder you were called a freak. You should have been dead ever since you were born, demon. Hiashi's words made Naruto feel really pissed as Hiashi kicks his upper body and uses his other technique. Jaiuken, Gentle Fist. Hakushu Kaiten, Divine Rotation. While spinning and being protected in a large dome, he sends Naruto flying as he leaps up to strike him again. A trigram 64 palms. Hiashi strikes down Naruto in midair as the blonde ninja was getting injured pretty badly. Suddenly, Hiashi strikes him one last time and plows Naruto to the ground. Naruto fell face first onto the ground and was trying to get up. His muscles were getting sore after dealing with those bandits from his mission and having Hiashi making it worse. Hiashi safely lands on the ground and smirked. And I find it hard to believe that you defeated Niji. I believe that was a fluke as I barely have one bruise on me just yet. Hiashi then looks at his statue and notices a sword right from it. He turns to see the boy still struggling to get up as he walks over to pick up the sword. This village has no need for a pest like you to stain it with your filth. Now, it's time for you to suffer. Naruto was trying to get up, but Hiashi put his foot on his back to stop him from going anywhere. Hiashi knew that it was time for him to end Konoha's demonic problem. It's a shame that all your dreams will come to an end. Hiashi then raised his blade up and prepares for the finishing blow. So long, demon boy. And with quick actions, Naruto grabs Hiashi's leg and soon topple him on the ground. Hiashi quickly stood back as he sees Naruto looking at him with evil intent. His teeth were showing canines, and his blue eyes were turned into crimson-red fox eyes. Seeing this made Hiashi speechless as Naruto was charging forward. Naruto soon threw shuriken stars as Hiashi, then used divine rotation again while eliminating the thrown objects. But when he finished his ultimate move, Naruto came up close to him and gave him an uppercut with his foot. But suddenly, another Naruto was stepping on Naruto's back and leaped to give Hiashi another hit to the chin. And while putting him up in the air, Naruto got off the ground while spinning upward to deliver a brutal blow. Uzumaki Barrage. Naruto shouted as he stops to deliver a kick to Hiashi's stomach. The Hyuuga leader was then slammed to the ground. Gravel and dust surrounding the area as Naruto dispels his clone as he was back on the ground to see how much the Hyuuga leader can take. He smirked at his own approved work but was now shocked to see a mysterious figure appearing from the smoke. As the smoke cleared away, Naruto sees Hiashi standing tall with some bruises on him. His side was hurting from the impact and he was walking slowly at the boy. Huh. You think that could take me down, demon brat? I could do this all day if I have to. Naruto grunted as he was mad that Hiashi was still up. That move should have finished him off. No wonder this guy is the leader of the clan. Naruto thought as starts to speak to him. Look, I want you to apologize to Hinata right now. I don't want to hurt you anymore. Just think what your daughters would say if I killed you. Hearing this made Hiashi laughing harshly at the boy's ranting. Like I would apologize to that weak daughter of mine and her sister. Go to hell, you demon spawn, and take them with you. Naruto was done reasoning with Hiashi and only want him dead for good. Summoning up one of his clones, Naruto had them forming something very familiar in his hand. A glowing blue sphere appears as Hiashi was shocked to see that move. It can't be. How can he shock Hiashi as he knew that technique anywhere? You're dead. Naruto shouted as he starts to charge straight at Hiashi. Shaking off the thought, Hiashi got into his stance and prepares for Naruto's new technique called Rasengan. Hiashi starts another divine rotation as the large barrier was made. Naruto knew this would either injure or kill Hiashi, but he didn't care as he was blind in fury from Hiashi's words. I'm sorry Hinata. Hinata and Sakura. Hinata was healed quickly by Sakura as she was able to move again. Thank you, Sakura. Not a problem, Hinata. Sakura then turns to see where Naruto might be at due to the smoke. I can't believe your father would do this to you. What was he thinking? Hinata sighed and looks away. I don't know, but this isn't the first time he's done this. Sakura gasped in horror to hear what Hinata just said. What do you mean? Before Hinata could answer, the girls heard someone crying. Hinata was shocked to see Hanabi with tears in her eyes as she was running towards her. Hinata was then embraced with a hug on her stomach as Hinata came down to see what was wrong. Hanabi, why are you crying? Hinata asked with concern. Hanabi looks at her sister as tears were coming down more. It's our father. I know, Hinata sighed and continued. He's facing Naruto now. And no, not that. He said some mean things about you and me. Hanabi sobbed. He called us his own mistakes. Failures like our mother. Sakura and Hinata were shocked to hear what Hanabi said as Hinata was completely speechless. Did her father actually say that you her? And in front of Hanabi it broke her heart into shattered pieces that her own father would say that to them. Sakura was angry and curled her hand into a fist. But then, a huge explosion was made as the girls were startled by this. And Naruto. Sakura shouted as she looks at Hinata and Hanabi. Come on. Alright. Hinata replied as the girls ran towards the explosion. Naruto and Hiashi. Naruto was breathing heavily after the impact he endured. Holding on to his right arm, he was exhausted as he looks at the damage that was done around the courtyard. Walls were broken. Glass nowhere to be seen. And a large hole made between him and Hiashi. Hiashi? That name got his attention. Naruto looks to see the Hyuuga leader down near the crater around him with his robe torn clean off from the upper body. His abdomen was left the mark from the Rasengan and left him paralyzed from top to bottom. Hiashi can't feel anything as he tries to get up. Seeing this made Naruto glad he wasn't dead yet. Turning to his left, he sees the same sword Hiashi was using to almost kill Naruto with. Still filled with rage, he came up to the weapon and picks it up. Naruto went up to Hiashi and slowly took a good look at him with no remorse. Hiashi continues to struggle, but he was now facing a sharp-bladed tip that was pointing close to his neck. He sees Naruto with a sadistic smirk on his face. "Well, are you going to kill me?" Naruto's smirk disappeared as he was looking angry at the so-called father of Hinata and Hanabi. After the way that he treated his daughters, Naruto was standing tall to deliver the final blow. As he raised the sword, Naruto took a good look at Hiashi, who was getting ready to feel the wrath of a pissed-off Uzumaki. And as Naruto drops the blade. SFX. Clang. Hiashi felt nothing. He thought he was dead. But he sees the sword on his left that struck the ground near his face. He suddenly looks at Naruto who was still glaring at him. His eyes reverted back to cerulean blue color and still felt like killing him. Naruto knew that he would not forgive himself, that if he kills Hinata's father, Hinata would hate him for life and label him as a monster. He didn't want to cross that line and never want Hinata to be sad again. Naruto was never like that. Never again. "You're not worth it." That was all that Naruto said as he heard footsteps coming to them. Hinata and the girls made it and were shocked to see the destruction of what was left of the courtyard. But what shocked them the most is that Naruto was standing and Hiashi was down. They couldn't believe that Naruto defeated a Hyuuga clan leader. First Neji and now Hiashi. "Naruto?" Hinata said with concern. Naruto looks down with guilt after knowing what he has done. "I'm sorry, Hinata." Before he can say more, Hinata ran up to him and embracing him into a tight hug. Naruto was stunned to have Hinata doing something like this. Hinata lets go of the hug to look at her crush. "Don't say it, Naruto. You had the right to do that." Naruto was now shocked to hear Hinata say that without even stuttering once. But he shook off the thought and looks at Hinata with care in his eyes. He soon smiled as Hinata did the same. Hiashi was then surprised to see how his own daughter would actually comfort Naruto instead of him. This almost made his heart break a little to know that this was something delivered by Karma herself, since he gave the same treatment to Hinata. Before he could say anything. SFX. Slap. His cheek was burning red from a tremendous slap from his younger daughter Hanabi Hyuuga. His eyes were wide to see the anger that was right through her eyes. Hanabi Hiashi's words were stopped by Hanabi. "Don't ever call me your daughter again," Hanabi said sternly as Sakura came behind her. She then held Hanabi's hand and leading her away from her former father. "Come on, Hanabi. Let's go somewhere away from here." Sakura shot a glare at Hiashi one last time and left with the little girl. Hiashi then looks at Naruto and Hinata as they were looking at them as he sees hatred in their eyes. "Hinata, please forgive me." Hinata shook her head while took off her jacket and throwing it at Hiashi's injured body. "I'm gone, Hiashi. I hope you're happy to see your mistakes gone out of your life." Hinata then turns to Naruto. "May we leave?" Naruto nodded. "Sure, Hinata." Naruto held Hinata's hand and leads her out of the compound while she was blushing red. Hiashi was broke inside and realized what his own pride has cost him. He lost his wife, who left him and the village, and his own 2 daughters. Knowing how much it hurts him, Hiashi was then looking at the sky while he remembers all the time that he was ever cruel to them and his own wife. His heart broken too and knew it was too late to say anything else. For the first time in his life, Hiashi shed a tear as he was on the verge of passing out. "I'm sorry," and with his last words, Hiashi was passed out into slumber. Things were now a huge massacre as the Hyuuga guards were helping Hiashi up and sending him to the hospital. Anbu ninjas were investigating the scene and were figuring out what was happened in the Hyuuga compound. And during that time, Tsunade came into the scene and were looking at Hiashi one last time before sending the Anbu ninjas to escort him to the hospital. Tsunade sighed as she knew what has happened and thought it was out of self-defense. After interrogating Suzumabachi, a Hyuuga messenger bursts inside her office and told her what was wrong with Hiashi Hyuuga. As she arrived to the scene, Tsunade was speechless to believe that someone took out the Hyuuga leader with just one massive hit. And what shocked her most are the familiar patterns of one technique that can scar Hiashi's stomach up. "Please, tell me this wasn't you, Naruto." Tsunade thought as Shizune came up to her with something urgent. "Lady Tsunade." Tsunade fears the worst as Shizune has a red letter in her hands. "Is it from the council?" Shizune nodded her head as she looked sad. "It is. I'm afraid they were informed by who did this and who assaulted Hiashi Hyuuga." Tsunade took the letter and said, "Thanks Shizune. Help with the rest of the medical ninjas and give me Hiyashi's medical report." "Yes Lady Tsunade." Shizune bowed as she met up with Mednins to check on Hiyashi. Tsunade took a look at the letter and was wondering what the council members have to say about the problem. She unfolds the letter and read over to what they said. It reads. "Bring the boy tomorrow morning in your office. No questions asked. Prepare you." After reading only those few words, Tsunade crumpled the letter as she tightens her fist in anger. Knowing that this the first time that the council called her for this, Tsunade hated them for now trying to get her attention. Tsunade knew that they were the cause of Naruto being tortured and abused, while Koharu and Homura stood and did nothing. Naruto Tsunade thought deeply as she drops the letter and head back to her office to find Jiraiya. Naruto's apartment. Naruto and Hinata were coming inside the apartment complex after walking out of the streets. Naruto didn't bother stopping for anything as he was still angry at himself for doing what he did to Hinata's father. Although Hinata forgave him, he was still displeased with himself for his actions. While the complex is going to be up for repairs, Naruto is having Hinata staying at his apartment and Sakura is watching over Hanabi at her house. Hinata was blushing into the thought of her sleeping over in Naruto's apartment. Knowing that she would stay over with Tenten Ino, but she rather have the chance to stay by the person who helped her face her former father. Naruto pulls out his keys and starts to open the door. "Ladies first," Naruto said as Hinata giggled silently at his politeness. As she enters inside, Hinata knew it feels like home. His apartment was small, but spacious for two people. It had a bedroom, a kitchen, full bathroom, and a TV set. The place was a little dirty, but she doesn't mind while knowing how Naruto lives alone in his life. "Nice place, and Naruto," Hinata commented. "Thanks. Sorry about the mess here. I didn't know I was bringing company over," Naruto said with a shameful look. Hinata waved her hand dismissively. It's okay, Naruto. I can't complain here myself. I used to have a bigger mess than this in my old room. You, the Hyuuga heiress, have a bigger mess than me. I'm shocked to hear that," Naruto teased. Hinata giggled. I have a hard time finding my clothes. I can see that now," Naruto stated as he looks at her to see that she no longer wears her jacket now. Instead, she only shows her black shirt, mesh undershirt, blue capri pants, and blue sandals. "You know you look better without that jacket on." Hinata blushed red. Why you think so?" Naruto happily nodded his head. "Of course. I don't know why you always wear that jacket around. I just don't want you to pass out one day if you're caught in a heat wave." Hinata smiled at Naruto's caring attitude towards other instead of himself. Thank you Naruto. But the reason I wear that jade jacket is to honor the Hyuuga clan. But after what has happened today I feel no need to wear it anymore." Naruto was now surprised to hear her speak with confidence and not stuttering at the last part. This girl is full of surprises. But then, he was out of thought as he heard something growling. He panicked a little until he saw Hinata holding her stomach. "Sorry. I'm just hungry." Hinata's face was bright red in embarrassment while smiling softly. Naruto, however, thought it was cute and laughed a bit. "It's okay, Hinata. I feel hungry myself. Want me to fix us some ramen? Or do you prefer something else?" "I don't mind having some ramen. Do you have some with miso pork?" Hinata asked kindly. Naruto couldn't have not think of the day that Hinata was eating ramen that was Naruto's favorite kind. "Miso pork. I didn't know you eat or like ramen. Have you been spying on me?" Hinata waved her hand dismissively while laughing nervously. "And no, of course not. I was just curious." Hinata lied about it. She took a liking of ramen at age 10. After going over at Ichiraku's a few times, Hinata has both an obsession of cinnamon rolls and ramen. After spying on Naruto for a while, she starts to crave the same thing like him. Naruto shrugged his shoulders and replied, "Okay. Just asking." While Naruto prepares their meal, Hinata looks around to see how his whole place is. Naruto didn't mind her looking around and wants her to feel right at home. Hinata went inside Naruto's bedroom and sees it has a king-size bed, a lamp on his drawer, and a few pictures. Hinata looks at the one with Team 7 before Sasuke's departure. She was smiling to see how happy Naruto was with his teammates and sensei together as it felt like he has a family. But as she puts the portrait down, Hinata grabs another picture of all the students gathered for a group photo. But what made her giggle the most is when Naruto was wrapping his arm around her on the day they first met. After looking at the pictures, the window was open as it let a cool breeze coming through. She shivered a bit as the room was getting a little cold. Maybe it was a bad idea to leave my jacket behind, Hinata thought. Suddenly, something was placed on her body as it felt warm and comfortable. Hinata looks at herself and sees a bright orange jacket on her. She turns around to see Naruto grinning at her. "Even though you've discarded your jacket, I'll lend you my jacket. You can have it if you like." I was planning on wearing something different later on tomorrow. Naruto said sincerely. Hinata was feeling warm in her heart for Naruto to care for her like this. Is this Naruto? When did he start acting like a true gentleman lately? In a strange way I like it. Hinata thought happily. Thanks. Naruto nodded. Come on. Dinner's done. Naruto and Hinata quietly ate their ramen as they couldn't think of what to say at the moment. Dinner was great as Hinata was feeling full. Naruto had the same thought as he was done already. Hinata asked if she could take a shower and Naruto told her she can. She headed inside as she also asked if he can lend her some clothes for bed. Naruto did so and Hinata was now inside the shower. While getting all the clothes for Hinata, Naruto knocked on the bathroom door. Hey Hinata. I got you some clothes. Okay. Can you bring them inside for me? I already got my old ones for you to wash. Hinata replied from the other side. Naruto was blushing red and knew that he was going inside to give Hinata her clothes. He didn't want to just go inside and give her some clothes while she's taking a bath. Naruto only wants to be a good host and not scare her away. But if Hinata wants him to go inside, he decides to not disappoint his guest. Naruto opens the door and said, Hinata, I'm in. I'm switching right now. Naruto did just that as he put Hinata's bed clothes on the rack and picking up Hinata's clothes. But before he would go, Naruto looks at the shadow figure of Hinata as she was behind the green curtains. He starts to blush red as he was looking at her with astonishment as Hinata actually resembles the water maiden from the waterfall. Her body and short hair says it all as he was mesmerized by the sight. Whoa, Naruto thought as he couldn't tell what to do. Are you still in here, Naruto? Naruto shook off a trance as he realized that he was looking straight at a naked Hinata. His body was red as he frantically said, oh, W was just picking why your stuff now. Getagabi. Naruto quickly left as Hinata knew what her crush was doing. While still in the shower, Hinata hugged herself and she smiled softly after seeing how Naruto reacted into seeing her body. Her Byakugan tells no lie as she secretly watched him looking at her. Naruto Hinata thought happily while feeling the warm water sprinkling her body. After 15 minutes, both teens took their showers and were dressed for bed. Hinata was wearing his black shirt and green boxers while Naruto has on his white undershirt and blue shorts on. Naruto and Hinata were sitting on the couch while drinking their tea as they were discussing on where they would sleep tonight. Okay, Hinata, since you are my guest, you can have my bed. Naruto suggested. Or why you sure, Naruto? I really don't mind sleeping on the sea couch. I don't want to be a burden to you. Hinata said with a hint of sadness. Naruto placed a hand on her shoulder and replied, I don't mind you sleeping on my bed, Hinata. After all, you are my guest. Hinata can't tell by his smile that he really means it. Hinata smiled back and said, oh okay, Naruto. But before she would leave, Naruto felt her hand touched by her crush. Hinata then turns to face him. And Naruto. Hinata, you are my best friend. I want you to know one thing to remember for the rest of your life. You will never be a burden around me. Naruto declared with conviction. As if her heart wasn't beating faster, Hinata was feeling much joy inside as it was the most heartfelt thing that Naruto has ever said to her. She soon had a tear coming down her left cheek as she never felt this much happy to be with Naruto. Thank you Naruto. Naruto got up and hugged her with care to know that he meant it. You're welcome Hinata. They both pulled away as Hinata wiped her tears away. Well good night. Good night Hinata. Naruto complied as he sees Hinata heading towards his room. But then, she stops halfway as she turns to go to Naruto. Hinata, what's wrong? Instead of saying anything, Hinata did something that shook both their worlds. Hinata silently came up to him and kissed him on the cheek. It was soft and tender as she pulls away to have him face her. That's for everything. Unable to say more, Naruto watched her leave the room and going to bed. Hinata, on the other hand, closed the door and held her heart. Hinata was smiling and blushing up a storm after what she just did. IK kissed Naruto. I did it. Naruto sat down on the couch and was feeling his cheek that Hinata kissed him on. Suddenly, a smile crept onto his face. A real smile that was never the one to mask. Hinata, this was something brave that Hinata ever did and he really liked it. Hopefully, Naruto would think of a way to thank her in a way she would like from him. The next day. Morning came as Naruto was the first to wake up. He was feeling relaxed since last night as he feels great. It was the best sleep he ever had. But he was wondering why he was sleeping on the couch. Naruto shrugged his shoulders and head to his room to see what he should wear. As he opens the door, Naruto's eyes were shot open to see who was in his room. It was Hinata Hyuuga and she was still sleeping in his bed. Naruto was wondering how she got in his apartment and why she was sleeping in his room. Suddenly, he remembers what has happened yesterday. Her father, the fight, a place for her to stay at. Naruto realized it all as he then smiled happily to see his friend all better and knew she has been through enough for one day. He decided to check on her later as he silently closes the door. Naruto went into the kitchen and made his choice of getting some cereal. SFX. Knock. Knock. Naruto heard the door knocking as he quickly left to see who it was. He opens the door and sees an Anbu eagle in front of him. Naruto Uzumaki. It was a female's voice underneath the mask. Yes ma'am. Naruto replied. The Hokage wishes to see you at this time. The eagle ninja said sternly. Naruto nodded. Just let me get ready, please. Understood. The eagle ninja nodded as she closed the door for him. She sighed deeply after coming to give him the message. Poor kid. He doesn't know what he's in for. Hasn't he had enough already? Naruto opens the door and he was in his regular outfit again. Sorry. Had to leave a friend a note. It's alright. Let's go, the eagle ninja said as they disappeared in smoke. Hokage's office. Naruto made it to Tsunade's office and was curious to what she wanted from him. The eagle ninja made a complete stop as she said, you can go on, Naruto. Good luck. Thank you. Naruto said as he bowed. The eagle ninja dispelled and Naruto knocks on the door. Come in. The voice was heard by him as he enters inside the office. As Naruto was in, he was surprised to see it not having Tsunade by herself in there. Inside the Hokage's office were now Jiraiya, Shizune, Koharu Udatane, and Homura Midokado. Naruto was a little scared to why they are all in her office to see him for. Maybe they have some news about Sasuke and were thinking he might be coming back. Granny Tsunade, what's going on? Tsunade didn't care about how he pronounced her about the age. This was important as she wanted to know the truth about yesterday's incident. Nothing's wrong, Naruto. Please, take a seat. Naruto didn't argue as he did what he was told. He was really getting nervous to what they all wanted from him. Am I in trouble or something? Tsunade sighed deeply before replying to the boy's question. Actually, Naruto, we just want to ask you something. Naruto understood and nodded. Okay. Go ahead. Tsunade asked, Naruto, do you know what happened yesterday at the Hyuuga compound? Naruto was feeling pale now as he realized what she means by that. He looks down in sadness as he answers the question. Yes. Before Tsunade could say anything, Koharu spoke in a stern tone. Naruto, you are to answer the question correctly or you will face severe punishment. Koharu, please. Tsunade shouted as this was making Naruto frightened. She looks at the boy and asked, can you explain what happened? And were you involved with a conflict with Hiashi Hyuuga? Naruto can't think of the right words to say as it was uneasy for him to answer anything. But then, Jiraiya came over to give him a pat on the shoulder. Naruto looks up to see his sensei smiling at him calmly. It's okay, kid. You can tell us. Jiraiya spoke softly. And knowing how much of what has happened yesterday, Naruto took a deep breath and said, okay. Naruto decides to explain from the beginning to when teammate and him came back from their mission. He even told them that he was with Sakura and his comrade suggested seeing Hinata. But what shocked them, except Koharu and Himaru, is hearing how Hinata was bruised and injured by her own father. Naruto had no choice but to meet him and demand an apology from him for Hinata. But once he did, Naruto tries to reason with him to why he would do that to Hinata as Hiashi was ranting about having his daughters becoming only mistakes in his life. And what's worse is that Hanabi heard it all and it broke her into crying her heart out. Naruto told him he had enough and had no other choice but to do what he had to do. Naruto even told them about the fight and how it ended. Tsunade then sighs in relief to know that Naruto didn't kill Hiashi in the aftermath. She knew that Naruto didn't want to hurt the people he cares for from his violent intent. He finished his story as he was feeling ashamed after explaining everything to them and knew he would be in deep trouble. Tsunade, however, feels that Hiashi deserves every last beating he gets for all the times he abused his own daughter for nothing Hinata didn't do. It's okay, Naruto. I know you didn't mean it. You were just being there for a friend. Naruto looks up at the Hokage as he was surprised to not see her angry at him. He can only see a gentle smile crept onto her face. Wait. Are you not mad? Tsunade shook her head. Why would I? Although I'm disappointed about your actions, but I respect that you stood up for Hinata and Hanabi like that. I'm proud of you, Naruto. Jiraiya and Shizune smiled to the same thing as Naruto was stunned that he was forgiven. He couldn't tell what to say since this was going so well. But it ended when Koharu smirked. Liar, she commented. Tsunade heard this and glared at the older woman. Excuse me? This boy is lying through his teeth. How can you believe something that is so sad that he wanted you guys to feel sorry for him? Koharu stated with conviction. What are you talking about? Naruto can prank his way out of situations, but he never lies about anything. Tsunade spat back. Tsunade, look at him. Koharu pointing at Naruto. Don't you think it's wise for him to let him out and terrorize more council members? What if he goes on a rampage and kill more innocent lives? Jiraiya was getting annoyed by how Koharu was talking to both his friend and student that way that he intervened. Take it easy, Koharu. I think you're jumping to conclusions. You stay out of this, you old fool. Kaharu snapped back as Jiraiya knows to control his anger. Tsunade, however, did the shouting for him. Hey, watch it. He has every right to say what he has to say. Sorry. I don't think I can negotiate to a woman who couldn't keep up to the one she loves. Kaharu's words struck Tsunade hard as the slug Sanin looks at her assistant. Shizune looks away in pain after remembering her deceased uncle. You bitch. Tsunade clenched her fist tight as she was unable to strike the older woman. Kaharu smirked. HMPH. So much for the Hokage to keep her cool. She looks at Naruto. Listen, you demon boy. Those words made Naruto's heart sinking low as he was feeling the same pain he had all those years ago with the village hating him. You have no authorities to pick fights against leaders and council members of their respective clans. Your actions were reckless and inexcusable. But I had to. Otherwise Naruto was interrupted by Himaru. Do not speak out of terms, boy. Show respect to the council and the elders themselves. Naruto heard Himaru as he didn't say more. Under no circumstances that you are ever to do this again. But knowing what the records show, I don't think imprisoning you can help you now. Kaharu stated. Tsunade was outraged by the council's decision. Then what were you planning to do? You were planning on executing this poor boy for nothing he didn't do. Damn it, woman, why don't you prosecute those bastards outside that tried to kill this boy in almost 12 years? What happens to him is not our concern. Himaru stated with a smug look. Maybe death itself can have someone to associate with while ripping him apart. We only care for the safety of this village and no harm done to it. Tsunade was on the verge to strangling some elders to death. Why, you sick son of a. It's okay. The Sanins and Shizune turns to see Naruto as they now spotted a few tears coming down his face. This startled them as they were wondering what was wrong. Naruto? Tsunade asked calmly. Naruto stood up to look at them with a soft smile while tears were still running down his face. It's okay, Lady Tsunade. Can I just speak for a moment? Tsunade was speechless to hear how he pronounced her name correctly without any smart talk. Of course, Naruto. Naruto got up from his chair and calmly spoke to them. I get what they are saying about me. Jiraiya was shocked to hear about this from his pupil. Was he actually agreeing with the Konoha council? Naruto, what are you talking? Naruto asked loneliness. Naruto took a deep breath and answered, I thought I could do anything right in my life. I always wanted to help people and show them all that I am something more than just a mere orphan or prankster. But I can't. I was given the title of a genin ninja because I had to help Mizuki steal a scroll from the third Hokage. I failed the ninja academy several times and I always get beat up by every villager out there. I was mocked and laughed at to believe that I will become Hokage as I wanted to be somebody. But how can I? I've saved thousands of lives and was loved by others in different countries. But I guess I can never get the same feeling when I always come back here. Maybe they were all right about me. A demon boy who will never be loved and respected as he was having people feeling bad for me. I know I've done some bad things to have my pranking going crazy, but I always wanted people to know me better. I look out at everyone and see a child being carried by his family and I watched how happy he was with a caring smile he had. I lived my life alone and I didn't deserve this from what happened 12 years ago. Heh. I guess it was my fault for harboring a demon inside me that killed their friends and family. After all I've been through, I just wished to know how it feels to have a family to love and care for me. Listen, I'm sorry if I didn't have the chance to prove myself, but I know what you guys decided on for me. The room was silenced as Shizune was filled with tears as this was too much for her to know how Naruto's life was. Kaharu and Himaru stood silent as the blonde ninja spoke with true honesty. But what made the adults shocked to see is that Naruto took off his headband and came closer to Tsunade. Naruto, please, don't. Tsunade's voice was breaking as she knew what he meant by this action. It's okay, Lady Tsunade. After that incident yesterday, I knew I was going to get a death penalty for hurting a fellow leader of the Hyuuga clan or a council member. But I'd rather go with a second choice. I was given this decision from when I became a ninja and had to face the council like last time. Naruto then hands her his headband and smiled softly while still having tears coming down. I'll get my things ready in 24 hours. As of this moment, I, Naruto Uzumaki, resign as a Konoha Leaf Ninja. The blonde child then left the room and having Tsunade standing there and holding on to his headband. Her heart sunk low as she couldn't believe what Naruto did and was feeling terrible for what she thought trying to save him. Suddenly, anger came up to her as she clenched her fist on the headband. Get out. Kaharu and Himaru heard Tsunade speaking as they wonder what she said. What was that? Kaharu asked. Tsunade looks at them with rage and hatred in her eyes. I said get the fuck out. You're dismissed. Himaru grunted and replied, and what if we don't? Poor choice of words. Out of nowhere, Tsunade's desk was thrown out the window with full force as the civilians quickly got out of the way. They feared this as this was a sign that Tsunade was seriously pissed. Koharu and Himeru was shocked at Tsunade's actions as they were about to speak. But they didn't get the chance. Did I give you the right goddamn answer? Get out my office right fucking now. Tsunade yelled in anger as the two council members decide to leave before they make the fifth Hokage angrier. As soon as they left, Tsunade then fell on her knees and held the headband close to her chest. Tears were forming in her eyes and she then begins to cry miserably. This hurts her inside to see the only person that brought her here and have her become Hokage is now leaving the village. Tsunade felt more pain after dealing with the heavy loss of her brother and lover. Shizune came up to her and gave her a gentle hug. She could understand her pain as it was similar to anything she had before. Tsunade welcomed the hug and returns the same gesture. Jiraiya came to her and did the same. They were like this for 5 minutes until Jiraiya starts to speak. "I'm sorry," Jiraiya whispered softly. Tsunade stopped her crying and looks at Jiraiya with a sad look. "Jiraiya, please help me with something." "What is it, Tsunade?" Jiraiya quickly replied as he was startled by her voice. "It's time we tell him." Hearing Tsunade's remark, Jiraiya knew what has to be done. He needs to know the truth. Hopefully, he'll live a better life. Jiraiya nodded while getting her up. "Understood." Naruto's apartment. In the kitchen, Hinata and Sakura were making dinner as Hanabi was watching television. Hinata invited them in and was asking how her sister was during her stay at Sakura's. The Pincat told her that she was actually happy to have her over and thinking she was her own little sister. The girls laughed and enjoying the day together until Naruto returns home. Suddenly, the door opens as Naruto came inside as the girls see him coming back home. "Naruto. I got your letter. How were things at the Hokages?" Hinata's smile went down to see her crush looking sad and depressed. "Naruto, what's wrong?" Sakura notices this and came up to her teammate. "Hey Naruto. Are you okay? What happened?" Naruto looks up to see the concerned faces of his friend and knew that what he might tell them will have them speechless. "Girls, there's something that happened while I was in Lady Tsunade's office. It was about yesterday's incident." The girls had their hearts feeling cold and knew there was bad news coming. Silence. It was nothing else to say inside the apartment as the girls were horrified by the news. Naruto told them everything about what happened back at the office, that it was shocking that Koharu and Himeru gave him a choice to either be banished and marked in exile of the Leaf Village or be executed for the crimes of assaulting Hiashi Hyuuga. And during that time, Naruto was given 24 hours to leave Konohagakure for good. Hinata's heart was broken and she was getting tears coming from her eyes. Her crush was getting forced to leave the village because of what her father did. Hinata rushed over to Naruto and gave him a huge hug to help rid the pain. But not only to ease his pain, she wanted to get rid of hers as well. "Naruto, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have made why you stand up to Hiashi like that. I didn't mean." Hinata sobbed on his chest and she felt her crush embracing her with concern. "It's okay, Hinata. It's not your fault. I was pretty reckless to ever do something like that. Don't blame yourself for nothing you didn't do." Naruto pulls her head by the chin and makes her looking up at him. "You have nothing to blame for my mistakes." Hinata knew that even though they were living in tough times, she always feel much better to know Naruto will always cheer his friends in the most possible way. Sakura was on the verge of tears after hearing the news. Sakura feels downright terrible inside that she's losing a true friend that she was finally getting along with. First Sasuke and now Naruto. Why can't I ever be strong enough for the team instead of just being a spineless kunoichi? My love interest for Sasuke has gotten me nowhere and I should have been nicer to Naruto instead of hitting him constantly. Please. I don't want Team 7 to end like this. But before she could cry, Sakura felt a soft tug on her shorts. She left her thoughts and looks down to see Hanabi looking at her with concern. The girl knew that Sakura was hurting, so she decided to comfort her. "Sakura?" Hanabi said softly. "Why yes Hanabi?" Sakura's voice was breaking as she still looks at the little girl. "I know that I don't know my own mother, but my big sister told me that our mother says that if we ever feel down or sad from a bad day, she would always give us hugs." Hanabi extended her arms out for the pink kunoichi. "I think you need one the most right now." And at that moment, Sakura came down to Hanabi gave her a gentle hug. She soon cried as Hanabi was there to ease the pain away. The room was filled with emotions. Naruto and Hinata came to them and hugged both girls to share the comfort. It was hurting them inside that Naruto was going to leave the Leaf Village as an exiled ninja. They knew it would hurt, but they were still there for each other. They pulled away for 15 minutes as they were still feeling sad about it. Sakura decides to break the silence. "Naruto." Naruto looks at his teammate and said, "Yeah, Sakura. Listen, I'm sorry for beating you and calling you names back at the academy and while we're on teams. I hope you can forgive me." Sakura said as she looks away. "I forgive you, Sakura. You're my friend and nothing can change that. I just wish Sasuke was still here." Naruto looks down as he feels bad about his teammate leaving the village for power. "I know. I get why you call him Sasuke team for a reason. Sakura stated. Naruto chuckled softly. Yeah, I get that. But then, Naruto feels a little depressed for himself to know what he was feeling right now. What's wrong, Naruto? Hinata asked with concern to see him back to his depressed state. Something was hurting him inside as she can feel his chakra pattern moving rapidly. Nothing, Hinata. It's just Naruto knew his couldn't take it anymore. He had to tell her and his friend something. He deeply sighs and looks at Hinata and said, I have something to tell you girls something. Do you mind if you and Sakura sit down? Also Hanabi as well. This startled the girls a bit, but they nodded their heads to see where Naruto is going at this. Sakura and the former Hyuuga sisters were already in the living room sitting on the couch as Naruto approaches them to face them all. Naruto took a deep breath and exhaled sharply before saying, do you girls know about the nine-tailed fox? This made the girls shocked to hear what Naruto said as Sakura nodded her head. Of course. They said that the demon fox was killed by the fourth Hokage. Naruto shook his head and sighed again. That's a lie. Sakura and Hinata were speechless to have Naruto say this, but he continued. The stories that our teachers told us were a lie and it was promised to be kept a secret to all of the children. Including from your parents to tell you. How come? Hinata asked in fearing what this was leading to. Naruto explains the real story. About 12 years ago, the nine-tailed fox attacked this village with full-on fury. I talked to him once and he goes by the name Kurama. Since then, Kurama took out the shinobi allies and the Leafs as they were no match against him. When all else fails, the fourth Hokage decided to end Kurama's wrath by not killing it, but sealing it inside someone that was the only person close into contact. This event happened on October 10th as the fourth Hokage sacrificed his life on that day. Hearing the true story about the fox, Sakura and Hinata finally got what that means as they looked at Naruto in horror. But Naruto, that's your birthday. Hinata exclaimed. Sakura gasped. Then that means. Naruto nods meekly and looked away. The fourth Hokage sealed the demon fox inside me. I am the Jinchuriki of what's the most powerful demon to ever be contained inside of me. The girls finally knew the reason why he has been through hell in his childhood. It all makes sense. The cruel villagers, the bullying, calling Naruto names. It was because of him containing a monster inside him. So, I guess you know now. I'll understand if you girls can leave me now. Naruto turns away as he couldn't face them again after telling them the truth about him. Naruto can tell that they were going to leave him and treat him like the villagers does. He soon heard them getting up as Naruto knew they would be on their way. However, he didn't hear footsteps moving towards the door. Naruto. Before he knew it, Naruto turns around and see them facing him with soft smiles on their faces while tears were coming down. Naruto was shocked to see them still inside his home and didn't leave him alone. Aren't you all scared or afraid of me? The girls shook their heads as Hinata spoke for them. We could never be mad at you, Naruto. After all you have done to this village and every other village out there, how can we label you as something you are not? Without you, I would have been dead by Gaara. I didn't care if you had that fox lend you some chakra to help you, I still say I should thank you and Kurama for saving me. Sakura added. I should do the same here, Naruto. You saved me and my sister from our former father, and you've made our cousin Neji change his ways about destiny and all that other stuff. Hanabi joins in on the conversation. Naruto couldn't think of anything to say after hearing the three girls thanking him for his heroic deeds. Does this mean you don't hate me? The girls giggle as they ran up to him for a group hug while saying in unison. You're the best ninja and friend we could ever have. Naruto then had tears coming down his face with a soft smile crept on his face. After what he has done for them and revealing to them his dark secret, he felt really happy to know that they accepted him for what he truly is. Thank you. Thank you for accepting who I am and not a monster. Naruto said softly as the girls pulled back. You're welcome, Naruto. Hinata smiled. We know that this village is wrong to treat you like that. If I had that demon fox inside me, I will personally kill these villagers for what they did to you. Sakura said while waving her fist. Naruto and the girls laughed as they were happy to see the smiles on their faces again. All of them were hearing the door and Naruto came up to see who was knocking on his door. He opens the door and was surprised to see Tsunade and Jiraiya standing in front of his doorstep. By the looks of things, Naruto spots the Hokage with dried tears on her cheeks. Lady Tsunade. Hiro-sennin. What are you guys doing here? Naruto asked with curiosity. Tsunade answered, we need to talk. Do you mind if we come inside? That's sure. Naruto replied as he lets them in. As the two legendary Saiyans came inside his home, Tsunade and Jiraiya see Hinata, Sakura, and Hanabi inside. I see you have some company already. Yeah, we were just talking about some things. Naruto spoke as he shuts the door. I see, Jiraiya said as he turns to the boy. Naruto, we're sorry we couldn't do anything to have them reconsider. It's okay, Jiraiya-sama. Naruto replied as Jiraiya was surprised that he didn't call him by another name. I knew that one day the council would go ahead and make a decision behind Lady Tsunade's back without her consent. They did the same when the third Hokage was in charge. Now I see why he didn't help me back then because of them. Tsunade was getting angrier just thinking about it, but she calms down and starts to speak to Naruto. Listen, I know you are going to leave the Leaf Village soon, but we need to tell you something before you go. Tsunade then looks at the girls. And I believe he told you all what happened today. Hinata nodded. Yes, Lady Hokage. But he even told us about the nine-tailed fox. But we will always accept him as the true hero he is. Sakura added as Hanabi nods happily. Tsunade was smiling to see how Naruto's own friends treated him better and was proud to see them still being with him. Thank you, girls. But right now, I think it's time to tell you all something that was kept as an SS rank secret. Do you want to know, Naruto? Naruto nods in approval. Yes, Lady Tsunade. Naruto and his friends were now on the couch as Tsunade and Jiraiya were sitting on chairs to face them. Naruto decides to give them all some drinks before they start explaining to what the secret was. After Tsunade finished sipping her tea, she looks at Naruto and spoke to him. Naruto, do you know anything about your last name? Actually, I don't know anything about my last name. In fact, I don't know anything about myself, except that I was born an orphan with no one. Naruto stated sadly as the girls were concerned for him. Jiraiya smiled as he continued for his friend. Well, I think you are going to like what we tell you about your last name. It's about time we tell you the truth about your legacy of the Uzumaki bloodline. Hearing this made the teens and Hanabi shocked to believe this. I have a bloodline. Tsunade nods and explains her story. This happened many years ago that there was once a proud village that inhabited the infamous Uzumaki clan. This village was talented with the strongest sealing jutsus ever created by the best of shinobi ninjas of their own and lived by their own rules. It was called the Uzushiogakure village and it was once Konoha's trustworthy ally. It used to be a peaceful place with kind villagers and had their own government without any chaos or corruption. It was once feared by many villages around and became Konoha's spot to help with certain trades of little money and resources needed to help each other. Before this village was founded, Mito Uzumaki was the first to help lead the Whirlpool village as she was married to the first Hokage and one of the allied Senju clan Hashirama Senju. But during that time, the Whirlpool village was once threatened by enemies of rock, mist, and cloud. But things were not always as planned when the village had the strongest group of shinobi-ranked ninjas with massive strength and vitality to outlast most of their enemies without the need of Konoha's own. But when Konoha feels like they are in danger, the Whirlpool village has their back. But the Uzumaki clan was different from any other than the Senju clan and other villages. It was said that the Uzumaki bloodline was indeed the most superior kind to ever withstand a lot from recent attacks and defenses. The clan's ability involves a healing factor that can help recover from any fatal attacks and seal away any wounds made a few seconds later. They are also the speed demons with incredible stamina that can make them go fast without ever getting tired or ever getting restless without sleep. But the most common thing for the Uzumaki clan was that they appear to live longer. Mito was my grandmother as that makes me close as in Uzumaki. This surprised the teens and Hanabi to know that Naruto was related to the fifth Hokage. Tsunade decided to continue with a smirk. But thanks to that heritage, I can go on without aging into some old prune like that wrinkled bitch Kaharu. The last part made them laugh a bit as Sakura decides to ask her a question. So, Lady Tsunade, what happened to the village? Tsunade sighs as she continues. Unfortunately, there was a planned attack as the rock and mist made a full-scale assault against the village. Although their plan failed, it was actually a diversion to lead another group of allied ninjas to attack the open village. Kumo ninjas suddenly launched an attack of their own as the village itself had to evacuate from the massacre. Mito, however, died young at possible age of 150. The remaining survivors fled and scattered across different villages to hide from the destruction of Uzushiogakure. An explosion was the cause of the entire village to cease to exist. Naruto was stunned to hear about this and knew that he wasn't the Uzumaki out there. Are you saying there are more out there like me? Of course. Tsunade smiled. The Uzumaki clan has many of its people having fiery red hair. But I'm a blonde. Naruto said in confusion. True, but you have your father's hairstyle and your mother's attitude. Jiraiya stated. What? Naruto shouted as he was unable to say more. But he had to because this involves his parents. I have parents. Jiraiya explains his story. Before you were born, you have parents that really love you and wish to be there for you before passing away. Do you know who your parents were, Naruto? Naruto shook his head. Naruto, you are the son of the red-hot Habenaro Kushina Uzumaki and the legendary 4th Hokage Minato Namikaze. Naruto and the others were speechless to know that Naruto, the orphan child, was the son of the 4th Hokage. Sakura and Hinata finally understand why Naruto looks familiar with the same look and hairstyle like Minato's. But how? Why wasn't we told about the fourth Hokage having Naruto his son? Hinata asked. Well, Tsunade explains, this was confidential by the third Hokage in order to keep Naruto safe from anyone to kidnap and kill him while obtaining the fox's chakra. Mostly the Akatsuki and Orochimaru? Naruto asked as Tsunade and Jiraiya nodded. But do you think my parents are alive? Sadly, your father died after sealing the fox inside you while also saving the village. This made Naruto sad to hear the news, but Tsunade added more. Your mother, however, is still alive. Naruto gasped in excitement. Really, how do you know? She was once the previous containers of the tailed beast inside you as she miraculously survived the release of the fox. But there was some complications. Jiraiya informed them. Like what, Jiraiya-sama? Sakura questioned. During the extraction, Kushina's appearance somehow made her a little like Naruto's age. And with that, Tsunade and I decide to help take her somewhere safe so no one can find her. But after that, we decided to make sure Kushina stays hidden until it was the right time to tell Naruto this or when the danger has passed. Jiraiya explains as he looks at Naruto. I'm sorry for not telling you this, Naruto. I hope you can. But he stopped as he heard someone crying. Naruto was filled with tears of joy to know that he wasn't alone. He has a mother out there. He was not born an orphan. I forgive you. I'm just glad that I have my mother somewhere. I don't care if I have to convince her somehow, I will make sure I'll be there for her. And I'll do the same for the few Uzumaki survivors in those villages somewhere. I'll find Yuzashii Agakure and rebuild it to make it rise again from the ashes to change everything. This made the whole room having smiles made as they see Naruto standing proud and knowing that he will do whatever it takes to reunite with his mom and rebuilding the Uzumaki bloodline. Tsunade felt her heart beating fast to see her now known godson happy again. Thank Kami for having you in our lives, Naruto. It was getting late as Sakura was taking Hanabi back to her home again for a little nap. She said her goodbyes and left the complex with a huge smile on her face. Tsunade and Jiraiya were about to do the same as they hugged Naruto. You sure you will be okay, Naruto? Jiraiya asked his godson. Naruto then looks at Hinata as she was smiling at him. He turns to them and said, I'll be fine, Jiraiya. Tomorrow will be my big day to start a new life. I'll promise to visit you guys soon. Tsunade smiled and said, you better do that. Otherwise, I'll lose my mind with all these crazy villagers. Naruto chuckled softly and gave Tsunade a big hug again. You know I never believed that you are related to me. I'm just glad to have you as my godmother. No use calling you granny anymore. Tsunade smiled and hugged back. I'm glad to have you as my godson. Take care of yourself, Naruto. I will. Naruto replied as they let go of the embrace. Tsunade and Jiraiya were out of the complex and were feeling happy about today. You think he will be alright? Tsunade asked with concern. Heh. Naruto may be a reckless boy, but he's a future hero to one day change the world. Jiraiya stated as Tsunade giggled softly to know that Jiraiya was right. Just then, she and Jiraiya heard footsteps and turned to see Hinata coming up to them. Jiraiya-sama. Lady Hokage. I would like to make a request. Hinata said with confidence. Tsunade knew this look before and starts to smile. Alright, Hinata. What would you like to request for? The next day the Veer Union, what have we done? All his clothes and supplies were packed. His favorite food finished in almost 30 seconds. His new journey will start as Naruto was now ready to leave Konohagakure. Naruto even changed his outfit into something better. A white jacket with red flame trimmings and his clan symbol on the back, black shirt with a mesh undershirt, orange pants, jade crystal necklace from Tsunade, and blue sandals with black fingerless gloves. Although his life was hell living in the village, Naruto plans to start over and locate his mother and the other Uzumakas. Before Naruto leaves the apartment, he took one last look at his place and sighs happily to know he will miss it all. He opens the door and closed it as he was now gone. Naruto left the complex and heads towards the Konoha gates. But as he was heading there, Naruto was then looking at a crowd of villagers that seems to be expecting him. He was thinking they might be happy that he was leaving the village and were glad to be rid of him. Naruto was about to ignore them, but actually sees smiles on their faces. This was very strange for them to act like this, and Naruto decides to try and walk through the crowd. He knows to watch his back and watch for any tricks they might pull as he walks along the road. But then, he heard a civilian saying something to him. Thank you, Naruto. The man said with a bow. Naruto was surprised by this as a few more did the same and bowed before him. He continues walking after what he just saw. But as he walks toward the gates, more people were thanking him for saving them and were apologizing to him for hurting him during his childhood. This was something he never expected to hear and see as he was feeling happy. He never knew that with him doing some good deeds lately. Naruto was then smiling to see even children giving him a hug for thanking him from saving their parents from the sand ninja Gaara. He was almost to the gate as he sees Tuchi and Am. Naruto came up to them to greet them. Hey, guys. But before Naruto would say more, AM came to give him a hug as she was having tears coming down her eyes. This was a surprise as Naruto felt his hair ruffled by the owner. Don't forget to tell people about this shop here, okay? You will always be our #1 customer. Tucci spoke softly as AM pulls away to face her friend. Don't forget us, Naruto. AM said before giving Naruto a kiss on the cheek. Naruto blushed a bit but smiles happily to see two good people seeing him leave. I promised to tell them. And I will never forget this place. He soon continued his walk as they waved goodbye. Naruto finally arrives at the gates as he was getting ready to leave. But what shocked him the most is that everyone was by the gates. His friends, teachers and sensei, and Konohamaru with his friends. Naruto was stunned by this as he came forward to them. Guys. What is all this for? Iruka decides to speak for them first. Think of this as a bon voyage tribute to honor you for helping us and many more people out there you've changed and rescued. For a maggot, you were something when you proved to everyone after you defeated Gaara and a few sound ninjas. You got guts, kid. Anko winked. Naruto Uzumaki, you have the gift to excel to the heavens and change the world with your eternal youth. One day, I hope you'll join me and Lee on the quest for finding spirited youth like you and him. Might Guy exclaimed with his nice guy pose, making Naruto laugh a little. Kakashi came up to his pupil and ruffled his hair a bit and smiled under his mask. Who would have thought that I have to see another one of my students seeing the world? Naruto smiled a little as he looks at Kakashi. What can I say? I got it from nice late as always sensei. Although, it would be a shame that I won't be pulling pranks on you anymore. Hey. No one can prank better than you. I hope to see you again, Naruto. Sorry about you no. Kakashi looks away in shame as Naruto knew what he means as he patted him on the shoulder. Apology accepted, Kakashi-sensei. Naruto said softly as Kakashi looks back at him. Kakashi smiled at him and said, well, I might as well do something that you will never believe in a lifetime. Naruto and every ninja comrade see the unspeakable thing to ever happen in history. Kakashi Haddock took off his mask and reveals his awestruck smile towards many others. Girls fainted at the sight as Anko, Shizune, and Kurenai were blushing red to see this and thought of one thing to say. Damn. Naruto was shocked and unable to say anything as he couldn't believe what Kakashi did. Wow. So that's what you look like without that mask. Naruto then smirked. But you might want to watch your back. Girls are going to be all over you with your mask off. Kakashi shrugged his shoulders. It's worth it. Naruto then faced his friend and was given a group hug by Tenten and Ino. He suddenly blushed red as the girls face him with smiles. It's a shame that you will be going away for good. I'm sorry that we didn't get to be good friends sooner than later. Ino said softly. I wish you good luck and take care of yourself. And just to remember me, Tenten digs into her pocket and pulls out a scroll. I have something that contains my greatest weapons, I forged them myself. Hope they can be of use one day. Naruto nodded. I will, girls. Just then, Shikamaru and Choji came to him and giving him a handshake. How troublesome it is to see our knucklehead kicked out of this village. I hope the world treats you better. Shikamaru smiled. And don't worry, Naruto, I'll keep your title safe for you at Ichiraku's. Even though it might be a while until I turn back to normal. Choji pointed out to him new skinny self. It's cool, Choji. But I think your new look is great. Plus. I think you have a few girls wanting you bad. Naruto teased as Choji blushed and chuckled softly. Don't remind me. As Shikamaru and Choji stood aside, Rock Lee came up to him and offered him something to remember him by. A green tracksuit. Yosh. Naruto Uzumaki. I offer you this outfit to know that when we meet again, I want to challenge you to prove who will be the ultimate Taijutsu master. Lee said while imitating Guy's nice guy pose. I love it. I'll be waiting on that challenge. Naruto gave him a thumbs up as Kiba and Shino walks up to him. Sorry you were exiled out of here. I'll make sure to keep enemies away from any creeps to come by. Kiba stated as Akamaru barked in agreement. Same here, Naruto. Shino said quietly. Thanks, guys. Naruto complied as Kurenai walks up towards him and kissed his forehead. That's for good luck as Tsunade would do. Thank you for saving Hinata. Kurenai said softly as Naruto was blushing red again. Just then, Tsunade came up as Shizune did the same. I'm sure going to miss you, Naruto. Just to think that you were like a little brother to me. Shizune giggled. Same here. For a nice lady, you kinda do look like a cool sister. But I think I should say it also to another one. Naruto said as Sakura came to him. It's nice to see that you can remember to say goodbye to your teammate and friend. Sakura teased. Naruto started to laugh and looks at Sakura with a smile. Sakura, if I ever see Sasuke. Naruto was interrupted by Sakura shaking her head. No need, Naruto. That promise I made you keep almost cost you your life. If you see him, give him a massive beating from me. Sakura with a smile. Naruto was surprised to hear this and nods his head. Trust me. He deserves it. And with that, Sakura kissed his cheek and gave him a gentle hug. Naruto was now feeling like he was getting fangirls crawling up to kiss him. You know you are now the sixth girl to kiss me on the head or the cheek. Naruto said. Sakura pulls away and smirks at him with a tease. Who were the others? Naruto blushed and looks away. Let's see Koyuki, Tsunade, Kurenai, and Hinata. Naruto then realized who was missing. Where is she? I'm here, Naruto. As Naruto turns to see his friend, his face was blushing scarlet red as he sees Hinata with her new look. Hinata is now sleeveless black top that shows her slender shoulders and slim, soft stomach, fishnet arm wrists, navy green gloves, black tight shorts with fishnets, brown khaki skirt, and blue sandals. And for her jacket, she has Naruto's wrapped around her. Hinata was walking to Naruto as Neji follows her from behind. Naruto was looking at his friend as he couldn't think of something except one word. Beautiful. Realizing his reaction, Hinata giggled. Thanks. I love your new look as well. Naruto. Neji said. Naruto got out of the trance and looks at Neji. Why yeah, Neji. Can you promise me something? Neji asked kindly as Naruto nods his head. Promise me that you'll take care of my cousin. What? Naruto shouted as he looks at Hinata. What does he mean? If you are going to find someone while on your journey, I'll be there to help you. Before Naruto would say anything, Hinata pressed her two fingers against his lips. Don't, Naruto. You saved me from my father and I chose to help you this way. You're my best friend and I'll always be there for you. I no longer live here as a leaf ninja. And I'm okay with it. As she pulled her fingers away, Naruto starts to speak. You mean it? You want to come with me? Hinata happily nods her head as Naruto smiles back at her. Thank you Hinata. And before Naruto would start his journey, Tsunade gave him a present and told him to open it until they were away from the Leaf Village. Naruto and Hinata said their goodbyes to their friends and family as they were now outside of the village. But before they would go, they heard a voice. Actually, voices. Hey, guys. Naruto and Hinata turns to see Hanabi and Konohamaru raising their right arms and balled their hands into a fist at them. Soon after, all their friends did the same as a reminder it was their vow that they will meet again. The entire village cheered for them and wished them good luck. Naruto and Hinata smiled and did the same action. The promise was made as they left to now start their journey as they were away from Konohagakure. Naruto was holding on to Hinata's hand as they were looking straight at their path. And for something to know that they are starting a new beginning, they now wear gold-plated whirlpool headbands made by the former Uzukage herself to give to the last Uzumakas. And so, Naruto and Hinata start their new adventure as they are now going to rebuild the next Uzumaki legacy. The Konohagakure village had people going on with their daily routine as always. It has been almost a week since Naruto's departure and being accompanied by Hinata. Nothing will ever be the same knowing that Naruto no longer stays in the Leaf Village. No parties. No celebration. Just sadness that one kid, who wanted to be Hokage, is gone for good. Still, Naruto's friends were training and fighting hard to make sure that they will be stronger and ready if he ever comes back. Asuma and his students were doing well as the teens were becoming close into reaching the legacy of the Inoshikacho trio. Choji was able to still handle his clan's basic technique while still in his skinny form. While finishing up training, Ino decides to have the chance to talk to Choji for a bit and knowing more about him. Shikamaru, however, was given a mission alone to meet up with the new Kazekage for an important message. Team Guy was training non-stop as Lee and Neji were sparring against each other to test their taijutsu skills. Tenten seems to be intrigued by her teammates and their fighting style as she wanted to learn more. But it was quite amazing that Neji offered to help her learn his clan's technique. With that, she and Neji start to challenge Might Guy and Rock Lee to a tag team battle, thus having them win the match. Although teammate no longer has Hinata with them, Tsunade decides to assist them with someone to help the team out. There was a transfer from another clan that was very skilled in stealth and great taijutsu skills. Hinata's replacement was Sasam Fuuma and she was getting quite well with her new team. The team was getting better from a few missions and improved a lot. But they know that Hinata will always be their teammate as Sasam wishes that she would know her as well. Sakura was on her own since Naruto and Sasuke left to follow different paths. But that didn't stop her from doing medical training and still having Kakashi as her sensei. But then, Hanabi was asked to have Sakura teach her some moves from her as they were now living together at Sakura's. Every day, or until Sakura finish her routines, Hanabi starts learning both her gentle fist technique and Sakura's medical and physical moves. Hokage's office. Looking out her window, Tsunade was seeing how everyone was doing their jobs and watching everyone feeling happy again. It was hard for the villagers to take Naruto's banishment not so well, but they knew they want Naruto to come back someday as they will do everything to make his punishment vanished into thin air. Suddenly, her door opens as she turns to see Shizune coming in with taunton. Good afternoon Lady Tsunade. Tsunade smiled as she sees Taunton walking up to her. Hey Shizune. Hello Taunton. Boink. Taunton said as her head was getting rubbed by her owner, making Shizune giggle. So, how are you doing today? She asked her Hokage. I'm doing okay. Things have been getting boring lately. I just don't know why. Tsunade asked with curiosity. Maybe because you miss Naruto and always hitting him after calling you by another name. Shizune stated. Hey, I did that out of respect and love for him. Tsunade pouted. Shizune raised her eyebrow. Really? Tsunade smiled as she looks back at the village. Well, he's always a handful and demanding to go on any mission I throw at him. Even though he's driving me crazy all the time with his big mouth, I really love the way he always be helpful to people around him. But when I look at him, Naruto seems to resemble Nawaki a little bit to pursue his dream to become Kage one day. Tsunade then looks back at Shizune. And he seems to remind me of Dan with his pure happiness and kindred soul to protect the ones he loves. Shizune smiles happily to know how Naruto has changed Tsunade's persona ever since they've returned to the Leaf Village. Do you believe that he will find the lost village? He will. I believe it. Tsunade said as Shizune giggled. Tsunade caught this and asked, what's so funny? It seems that you have a bit of Naruto in yourself. Shizune answered. Tsunade sighs as she sat back down on her chair. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door as the ladies turned to see a teen at their doorstep. Come in. You must be the new transfer ninja we've been expecting. The boy heard this came inside her office. The teen looks close to Naruto's age and seems to be looking like a monk. The boy has a fair-skinned appearance with golden eyes and light brown hair. His attire was a blue and red robe, black shaolin pants, and prefers to be barefoot. Behind his back, he carries a golden staff with a dragon pattern on it. Greetings, Lady Hokage. The kid bows before her. My name is Tsubasa Kazama. Perhaps you've heard about the fire temple I hailed from? Of course. I was informed by Chiriku that you were taught with wind release and his own forbidden jutsu, correct? Tsunade asked. Yes, Lady Hokage. Although, it's nice to come and see this village. It looks great. Tsubasa said with honesty. Noble and polite. Seems like Chiriku picked the right person to transfer here. Tsunade smiled as she looks at his records. So, how well can you work with others? I mostly work alone so I won't have my friends get any injuries because of me. But I get along quite well with others like my last team. Tsubasa answered. I see. Tsunade looks back at him. And do you mind working with a team I will assign you to? Tsubasa nodded. Who might they be, I ask. Your teammates are two girls, one from here and the other somewhere far, and your sensei is Kakashi Haddock. Tsunade stated. Who are these girls I'll be teaming with? The young monk asked. The girl with pink hair is Sakura Haruno of the Leaf Village, and the other is formerly from the Kamizuru clan named Suzumabachi. She is right now on probation as she is forced to become a Leaf Ninja in order for her to not take a life sentence in prison. I'm sure your positive and calm attitude will help her with that. Tsunade smirked. It would be my pleasure. Tsubasa bowed. Come here tomorrow and we'll make sure you'll meet everyone here so you can begin your life as a Leaf Ninja. You're dismissed. Tsunade said as Tsubasa disappeared in smoke. I think I'm starting to like that kid. He's much more calm and respectful than Sasuke. But you know he might be able to try and help Team 7 out, correct? Shizune said with concern. I'm sure Tsubasa will do great. However, I hope Naruto hasn't gotten himself into some trouble. Tsunade said as she looks at Naruto's old headband. The forest. Bodies were everywhere as Naruto threw one last rogue bandit near a tree with his Rasengan. The bandits were coming out of nowhere and forcing Naruto to hand over some cash and Hinata for their meal ticket to fortune. Naruto didn't take that well and had to resort to the offensive side. But then, Hinata made her own debut and took out 5 guards with her gentle fist fighting style. Naruto was surprised by this and joins in on the action. Having to use his shadow clones, the bandits were no match against the former Leaf Ninjas. Well, that was easy. Naruto said while dusting his hands. He looks around to see where his friend might be. Hinata. Where are you? Right behind you, Naruto. Naruto turns around and was smiling with joy to see his friend defeating the leader as she was sitting on his back. I guess I don't know my own strength. Naruto laughs happily as he came to her. Wow, Hinata, I'm impressed. You took out the leader without getting a scratch on you. At this rate, you might become stronger than me. Hinata giggled softly. You know I can't outmatch you, Naruto. You're the strongest ninja there is. Hinata, you took out 3 bug bandits with one move and destroyed 5 guards and the leader. It's a shame that your clan had to exile the strongest Hyuuga member out their compound. Naruto stated with a grin. Hinata blushed a little and looks at her crush. Thank you Naruto. That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me. It's true. When we rebuild the village, I'll make sure that those old Hyuuga farts look at you with respect as they'll be looking at Hinata Hyuuga. Gentle fist heiress. Naruto said with his fist in the air. Thank you, Naruto. But I'd rather prefer to be called by my first name. I no longer want to be called a Hyuuga anymore. Since I'm kicked out of my clan, there's no point being called by my surname. Hinata said with confidence. Naruto smiles and said, you got it, Hinata. He then looks at the unconscious leader. What do you think we'll do with him and the others? Well, Hinata explains, we can always have Anbu take them somewhere away to prosecute them. I know a few that can make sure they won't do this again. Hinata then reached into her pouch and pulls out some bag filled with coins. Plus. I think we can find us a room to stay in for tonight. Hinata, you sneaky girl. Naruto mocked as Hinata giggled. We're gonna have to talk about you taking from the rich. We're just borrowing at the moment. I don't think they'll mind. Before Hinata can't say more, she felt a raindrop on her head. Naruto felt a raindrop as they look up to see black clouds covering the blue skies. It looks like we have to find shelter. Are you where we can find a hotel we can crash at? Naruto asked. While I was fighting the leader, I spotted a village not far from here. Hinata stated as she pointed west. Come on. Let's go. Naruto said as he grabs Hinata by the hand and taking them to the village. Fireside Hotel. Naruto and Hinata made it to the Jitsugakure village and found the cheapest hotel to find. It was not much, but it was worth staying inside than outside. Made it just in time, Naruto said. I agree. It's pouring down hard now. Hinata replied as they both look outside to see heavy rain. The former Leaf Ninjas went up to the front desk and ring the bell. Out from the back was a young woman who has black hair and blue eyes. She wears a blue dress and sandals. She looks at them with a smile and said, Hi. How are you? Doing great, ma'am. We would like to purchase a room, please. Naruto spoke kindly. Why, certainly. Say, are you guys a couple? We have a discount for a couple special. The manager offered. Hinata blushed red and said, well, actually we're. Yeah, we're a couple. Naruto exclaims as he held Hinata closer to him. And then Hinata stammered as she couldn't believe what he said. But Naruto went down to tell her something. Just play along. Naruto whispered as he looks at the manager again. Yeah, we've been going out for 5 months and started traveling around the country to celebrate our happiness. Isn't that right, Hinata? Hinata understood what he means and looks at the manager with a cute smile. Why yeah. I just want to see the world better and share the moment with my boyfriend. Oh, that's so sweet. The manager said as she hands them the key. Your room is up the second floor and the third door on the right. Hinata then pulls out the bag of gold coins and hands them to the manager. Thank you, ma'am. Have a good night. The manager said as Naruto and Hinata went up the stairs to their room. Naruto, why did you tell her that we were a couple? Was it for the discount? Hinata asked curiously. Well, of course. Plus I owe you one. I'll tell you when we head to our room, okay? Naruto said as Hinata nods her head. Okay, Naruto. Hinata said as she blushed after what she said earlier about him being her boyfriend. I can't believe I said that. But I wish it was true. Naruto opens the door to their room as they were surprised to see the room looking nice inside. It has one king-size bed, a mini fridge, a full bathroom with shower, and a TV set. But the only thing that made them blush is that they are going to share the bed together. Naruto rubbed his head and laughs nervously. Seems like we might as well sleep like a couple for one night. After hearing this, Hinata decides to tease him for the first time. Why? Do you feel nervous sleeping around a girl for the first time? Naruto was surprised by Hinata's actions and blushed red. I have no problem with that. Hinata giggles softly as she went over to the bed. It's okay, Naruto. I don't mind if we do this often. That way we can talk about ourselves. I highly doubt we have conversations like this. Naruto thought about it at first. You know she is right. This is the first time we've actually talked like this after we left the village. Hinata is a nice girl and she helped me a lot lately. Naruto looks at her as she was smiling at him with a soft blush. He couldn't help but smile softly at her. Okay, Hinata. Let's just start off with what's your favorite colors. Hinata patted the bed for Naruto to sit at as she starts to talk. Well, you may think it sounds crazy, but I like the colors orange and purple. Naruto raised his eyebrow. Really? What makes you like the color orange? It kinda reminds me of how every day is sunny and full of happiness. It's also what my name is based on. I know we live in a world of hate, but I know that color would shine one day. Hinata said with a smile. Naruto was feeling different inside after hearing Hinata's answer. But still, he was intrigued to have someone loving his favorite color. I see. Well, my favorite color is orange as well. That seems about it. Hinata nodded. I understand. It's your turn to ask another question, Naruto offered. Hinata thought about her choice to ask Naruto, but she decided to ask him something that he knows as always. What's your favorite food in the world? Easy. Ramen. Without it, I'll go crazy. Naruto exclaims as Hinata laughs softly. What about you? Hinata smiles and answered, the only thing that I love the most is cinnamon rolls. For real I love those. Naruto exclaims happily. You love cinnamon rolls? Hinata gasped in surprise to hear her crush's second favorite food. Those rolls taste like delicious clouds you can float on. They are great since I tried one a few weeks ago. I started liking both ramen and cinnamon rolls. Naruto explains. Hinata was giggling softly. And I thought I would be the only one to like them. Okay, Naruto, your turn. Okay. Well, how about this? If you could change one thing in the past, what will it be? Naruto stated. Hinata thought long and hard on that question, but sighs deeply as she looks at the ceiling. I guess I can change the way I was back then. I was called many things that were not good and became an outcast for it. I only try impress Hiashi numerous of times, but he truly disowns me about every day. But since then, I've felt like I can't do anything right. Naruto was a little depressed to hear his friend speaking like that. Hinata. But then, she looks back at him with a soft smile. But I'd rather not change anything. I'm glad that I stayed the same shy and timid girl I was back then. Otherwise, I'll just end up like Hiashi and hurt my little sister. I start to gain confidence and earn my way to become a ninja. Hinata then placed her hand on Naruto's as he was stunned to see her reaction. And I would like to thank you, Naruto. You were the only person to give me the courage to stand up for myself and handle anything that comes my way. I will always remember that. You're my hero. Naruto was then surprised to hear this from Hinata and was speechless to say anything to comply. But looking at Hinata closely, he was seeing a much different person in front of him. The Hinata he knew was always fainting in front of him and was stuttering too much. But he now sees a different Hinata who was looking brave, confident, and filled with happiness and love. Knowing this, Naruto smiled and starts to speak. Thank you, Hinata. And I'm glad you didn't change. He then came up and kissed her on the cheek. Because you wouldn't be the girl I'm looking at right now. Hinata was blushing a shade of pink and giggles softly. Thanks. So, what about you? Nothing at all. Except telling my past self to make sure he doesn't get pushed forward to kiss Sasuke. Naruto shuddered and almost gagged just thinking about it. My first kiss ruined. You've never kissed a girl before? Hinata asked. Naruto shook his head. Never. What about you? You ever kiss someone? I haven't, Naruto. I'm actually saving my first kiss with someone special. Hinata replied while looking away. I hope you find the right one to kiss you. Naruto blushed. If not, maybe I'll be the one for you. Naruto sighed. I'm sorry, Hinata. The brunette caught this and asked, what, Naruto? I would like to say sorry. Naruto looks away while rubbing his head. Hinata was confused. What was he apologizing for? Naruto, why would you say sorry to me for? Naruto chuckled nervously as he blushed bright red. Well, do you remember the Pikachu mission we were on? Hinata nods her head. And remember when I told you and your teammates about this beautiful girl I saw by the waterfall? Hinata soon got the message and answered, you knew it was me, did you? Naruto nodded meekly. Yeah, I kinda had a few hints to who that girl was. Can you ever forgive me? Hinata smiles and nods her head. I forgive you, Naruto. But I have to be honest myself. What would that be, Hinata? Naruto asked while raising his eyebrow. Well. Hinata explains while blushing, I sorta used my Byakugan for some perverted reasons. One time, I accidentally looked at you naked while you were in the hot springs the other day. Whoa. Naruto was shocked, but then laughed softly. So I guess we're even, huh? Seems like it. But I'd rather see you up close without my Kekai Genkai. Hinata suggested calmly. Well, I think it's fair. But this is our little secret, okay? Naruto stated as Hinata nodded her head. Each of them slowly took off what was left of their clothing and were staring at each other with curious faces. Hinata was looking straight at Naruto's physique form as she can tell he was training real hard with a hard chest and abs with a 4-pack. She was looking down and sees how he was well endowed. Naruto, however, was getting every detail made to check out the lavender-eyed girl. Her soft and pale body was mesmerizing that it had a soft glow to it. Her body was curved right as she seems to blossom a bit early her age with B-cupped breasts. I was always curious to why you always hide your body under that old jacket of yours. Naruto said. I was a little nervous for showing everyone my body. I didn't feel comfortable showing it off to Sakura and the girls while in the springs. I was always jealous. Hinata explains while looking down. I don't know why. You look like you have a beautiful body. Naruto grinned. Hinata looks up to him with a smile. You really think so? I know so. If I hear one person talking so much crap about how you are not pretty, I'll beat the hell out of them with my Rasengan. Naruto said while shaking his fist. Hinata sighs happily to know that one person likes her the way she is. You always know how to cheer a girl up. It's what I do, Hinata. Naruto grinned as Hinata came over to give him a hug. Although they were unclothed, Naruto could care less as he was happy to be friends with the person he will always protect. Heh, you feel so soft, Hinata. I got it from my mother. I just wish she was still here. Hinata nuzzled her head onto his chest to feel his heartbeat. You're so warm, Naruto. It makes me feel safe. Naruto smiled as he starts to rub her back. A few minutes later, they were dressed in their bed clothes as Naruto and Hinata were sleeping in each other's arms. Naruto held on to Hinata closely so nothing would harm her. Even while lightning strikes, Hinata cuddles up to him more. But as it kept going all night, Hinata wasn't scared anymore. The next day. Both the young teens were now standing near the desk counter to wait for the manager to check them out. The woman came out from the back and greets them. Hey, you two. I hope you enjoyed your stay. Both Naruto and Hinata look at each other as Naruto pulls her close to him in his arms. Yeah. It would seem so. The manager giggled as was given her key back from them. Well, I wished you'd stay here a bit longer. We know, Hinata said, but we have a very important mission to finish up on. I see. Take care of yourselves. The manager waves as the teens were now heading outside. But as they were about to go out, Naruto and Hinata were blown right from the back of the counter as the manager ducks down from the falling debris. The young woman was then looking at the fallen ninjas as they grunted in pain. They slowly got up and were able to see what was going on. But instead, they heard an ominous voice. Die. 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 This was not a good sign as Naruto and Hinata were gasping in pure fear. The smoke was clearing out as a strange figure walks up slowly towards them. The figure looks demonic with dark skin on his left face and spiky orange hair. His attire was a pale blue shirt and green shorts with an arm that looks huge and dark with a few spikes. Who the hell is that thing? Naruto shouted in disbelief. I don't know, but he seems angry for some reason, Hinata stated as she looks at his dark yellow eyes. The figure then stops to look at Naruto with rage. His mouth was dripping with blood as he shouted, Kimameru. But Naruto and Hinata jumps away from the counter and got into their fighting stance. The demonic figure charges up to them and starts to strike straight ahead with a massive fury. It was now morning as Sakura was inside the Hokage's office while waiting on her late as always sensei Kakashi Haddock and her new teammate who has transferred in the Leaf Village. Sitting on the chair was Suzumabachi as she was irritated that Kakashi was an hour late. Erg. How long does it take for one guy to be late? This is crazy. The bee mistress exclaims. Well, you will have to get used to it. He always does this every time we have meetings like this. Sakura sighed. Suzumabachi looks at Tsunade and said, do you always have to deal with one person being late? Tsunade shrugs her shoulders. It gets annoying when he has to make these lame-ass excuses. It has been another 2 minutes as Suzumabachi was close to losing her mind. But suddenly, they heard the door opening as Kakashi appeared. Hey, everyone. He greeted kindly. What the hell took you so long? The new girl shouted with anger. Sorry. I had 2 reasons why I'm late. 1, I had to listen to the wind to understand life itself. The girl's sweat dropped from his new lame-ass excuse as he continues. And 2, I had to help this kid out to meet his new team. Kakashi enters inside as the young monk enters the office. The Kunoichis were looking at the young teen as Sakura was curious to who he was. Hello. What's your name? My name is Tsubasa Kazama. I was transferred from the fire temple to become a ninja. The monk said as he bows down. Well, can you tell us more about yourself? Sakura said. Tsubasa looks up and said, certainly. I like to meditate, train, and meet new people. I can't find anything I dislike about, but I can only say that I hate to see a fellow teammate down. My goal is to one day follow in my master's footsteps and lead the next Shaolin monks. And also, I plan to marry a nice lady and start a family soon. Sakura giggled and Suzumabachi gagged at that last part. Well, I'm Sakura Haruno and I'm studying medical technique so I can be like Lady Tsunade to help people. You seem like the right person to do that well. And judging by your hair color, I mostly think that you show love and beauty to others every day. Tsubasa commented. Oh, thanks. That's very kind of you. Sakura smiled as Suzumabachi got up from the moment. Ugh. Please, stop. Call me Suzumabachi. Nothing else. She stated sternly. Tsubasa chuckled softly and said, okay, then. He then looks at Tsunade. Forgive me if I was late, Lady Tsunade. I had to find something to eat. I had a long journey to come here that I was exhausted. Now that's an excuse I could take. You might learn something from this kid, Kakashi. Tsunade smirked. Not having his mask anymore, Kakashi smiled a bit. Maybe so. Okay, you 3. You are now the new Team 7 as of right now. However, there were some complications into what has made this different at the moment. Tsubasa and Suzumabachi, you two are both replacements of the previous members Naruto Uzumaki and Sasuke Uchiha, as I expect you both to cooperate as a team. Tsunade explains as Tsubasa raised his hand. Who were the previous members and what happened? He pondered. Tsunade took a deep breath and replied, things weren't doing so well between the two. Oh, I see. Tsubasa stated. Forgive my actions. It's okay, kid. I'll explain to you until the right time. Until then, I present to you this headband as you are an official Leaf Ninja. Tsunade said as she hands Tsubasa the headband. Thank you Lady Tsunade. The monk said as he wraps it around his forehead. Great. Now that this is over, all three of you will start your training at 8. Don't be late. Kakashi said sternly. Easy for you to say. You better not be late like today, Suzumabachi said as she left the office in smoke. Kakashi chuckled a bit and said, just like Naruto. And with that, he left the office as well. So, Sakura turns to see Tsubasa, can I show you around the village? If you want to, of course. I would like that. I'm just curious to how this place is. Tsubasa smiled as Sakura grabs his hand. I'll tell you when we head over to the BBQ restaurant. The two teens left as Tsunade was smiling a bit at the scene. Seems like they'll get along just fine. Itsugakure. A loud crash was made as two figures came out of the hotel. Naruto and Hinata were evading from the wrath of the monstrous Hyuuga. They were wondering who he was and how in the world does he know Naruto. Hinata, can you tell me what the hell is going on? Why is he attacking us? Naruto shouted. I don't know. But there's something familiar about his chakra patterns lately. Hinata stated as she looks at the enemy with her Byakugan. The brunette then sees Hyuuga coming out of the smoke and staring at them with rage. Naruto sees the monster in front of him and was looking closer at him. The way that he looks like in his demonic state was having the blonde ninja thinking back at the time he faced Sasuke. That form it looks almost the same thing as Naruto, then gasped in horror as he looks at Hinata. We have to get away from this area. Hinata turns to Naruto. What is it, Naruto? This guy is dangerous. During that time when I had to face Sasuke, he had this strange curse mark turning his entire body into something worse. Naruto stated as Hyuuga was getting ready to attack. Hinata, are you sure you want to fight him? Hinata nodded her head. Even if I have never faced something with so much chakra, I'll try to block out a few chakra points to slow him down. Once that happens, we'll try to take him down with what we've got. Understood. Naruto said with approval as him and Hinata got into position. Hyuuga then roared as he ran towards them. Get ready. Slipknot snap. Hyuuga starts to strike first as he was trying to hit Naruto with his arm. The blonde ninja was dodging his attacks as he was delivering a few blows to Hyuuga. However, Hyuuga didn't flinch as he starts to hit Naruto square in the gut. Naruto was then hit near a cart as people were getting out of the way. Naruto. Hinata shouted as she ran to his aid. But then, Hyuuga heard her coming as he quickly moves to her side and launched his fist to her. This got her attention as Hinata dodged his attack and did a few palm strikes to the abdomen. Hyuuga was feeling a bit of pain from Hinata's attack as she evades another hit from Hyuuga. She quickly made it to Naruto's side as he was getting up from Hyuuga's impact. Are you okay, Naruto? Hinata then sees him looking at her with a smile. Hinata sighs in relief. That's good. He's strong, but I think I can take him. But first, we have to get away from here. We don't people getting hurt from him. Naruto stated as he summons two clones. Cover me. Right. The clones shouted as they start to go against Hyuuga. The first clone threw a few shuriken stars at the monster as Hyuuga blocks it with his arm. Unknown to him, it was a diversion as the second clone did a clean kick to his face and made him skid a few inches. The clones then did a few hits at him as they quickly had Hinata running towards him. 8 trigram 64 palms. Hinata then struck him with 2 strikes. Second came another 2 making 4. Next came 8 to 16. And finally, she blocks out some chakra points with the last strikes. Hyuuga was feeling stung by Hinata's gentle fist attack. But before he could strike back, Naruto made a few more clones as one grabs his normal arm and held onto it tight as 10 Naruto clones were swinging away. Making it looks like a vortex, the clones were spinning Hyuuga around as they had to make the throw with perfect timing. Suddenly, Naruto came up to Hinata and asked, can you spot any secluded area with no civilians? About west from the same way he came to this village. Hinata pointed out as she spotted a clear field not far from the village. Eyes. Now. And with that command, the clones let go of Hyuuga and the monster was screaming far as he was getting thrown far away from Jitsugakure. Go after him. Me and Hinata will catch up. Yes sir. The Naruto clones rush towards Hyuuga's direction and continue on the attack. Hinata, we have to get back to the hotel. Let's see if anyone else is okay. Okay, Naruto. Hinata replied as they leaped towards the Fireside Hotel. Fireside Hotel. The manager was looking around and looking through the debris to see if anything was gone. The woman then heard footsteps as she looks to see the ninjas that were facing Hyuuga. "Are you guys alright?" Naruto chuckled. "We should say the same thing here." He soon looks around to see the lobby destroyed. "Sorry about what happened here. It's okay, you guys. Have any idea why that monster attacked you guys?" The manager said. Hinata shook her head. "We have no clue, ma'am. We've never seen or heard about him. Probably one of Orochimaru's creations." Hinata looks at Naruto with a concerned look. Naruto was mad as he continues. He must have known about that incident with the Sound 4 ninjas that Gaara's family and the retrieval team killed. This must be someone who came to try and finish the job. But why us? And who is Kimimaro he speaks about? Hinata questioned. "Someone Bushy-Brow told me about after Gaara saved him. Aside from why he would try to attack us for, we need to stop him or he'll kill innocent people after slaying us," Naruto stated. "I think I weakened him a bit. But we have to hurry. I don't think your clones might stand a chance against him much longer," Hinata said as Naruto nodded his head and they were running towards Jugo's direction. "Wait." The manager shouts to them as they turn to her direction. "Good luck. Give him a hit from Sayuki." They smiled at the woman as they said in unison, "You got it." Naruto and Hinata quickly leap into the air and confront Hyuuga. Meadow. Hyuuga was now getting surrounded by each Naruto clone as they were each giving him several blows around. Hyuuga was sent somewhere far as he was far away from the village. The clones made it just in time as they each were trying to stall Hyuuga until backup arrives. But while trying to distract the demonic beast, 3 clones were struck from Hyuuga's massive punch and another 5 were getting destroyed as the clones were down to 5 clones left. But the clones strike back as 2 Naruto clones were running towards him. Hyuuga then turns his arms into an axe as he was swinging away to get at least one. But they ducked as they made a quick hit to his face. Hyuuga stumbled as he was getting separate hits from the clones. One came up and hits his jaw. The second came and kicks him. The next 2 gave him a quick uppercut. And now, the last one leaps up and was spinning as he quickly came up to Hyuuga and gave him a huge kick to the stomach. Hyuuga then crashed down to the ground as he was beaten hard. The clones were looking at the monster as he was down for the count. The clones look at each other and gave each other high fives. Knowing that the battle has ended, they heard footsteps coming behind them. But while they turned their backs, Hyuuga was starting to move a bit as his eyes were turning bright red. Naruto and Hinata arrive on time as they were surprised to see Naruto's clones taking down Hyuuga. Hinata was really shocked to see that if Naruto's clones were this strong, then her crush might be getting stronger every day. Hinata smiled as she told them that they did a great job. But while getting distracted, Hyuuga came up slowly as his arm was extending and turning into something that looks like mini cannons. He starts to gather much chakra into his booster-like arm as he points it directly at Naruto's clones. Before Naruto would thank them, he felt a chakra spike somewhere as he then looks behind his clones to see Hyuuga up and was about to fire something big at them. And before he knew it, Hyuuga unleashed his chakra blast as it was strong enough to obliterate them from existence. Naruto didn't have time to say anything as he grabs Hinata and pushed them both away from the chakra blast. The clones were wondering why he did that as they were too late to either look back or get out of the way. The massive blast was strong enough for it to be seen for the villagers to see as it was beamed upward into the sky. The attack was caught in Sayuki's eyes as she was worried for her favorite guests. But before she would try to go and check it out, Sayuki felt a bit of wind blowing right past her as she was wondering what it was that made it. All of a sudden, Sayuki sees 2 unknown figures leaping into the air and heading towards where the blast came from. Who were they? Naruto and Hinata. Naruto safely led Hinata to the woods as they made it out of range from the chakra blast. It was too close for anyone to survive that as Naruto looks at Hinata below him and she stirred to see if they were okay. "Are you okay, Hinata?" Naruto asked with concern. Even though he was on top of her, Hinata was still able to nod her head without blushing just once. "I'm okay, Naruto. Thanks for saving me from that. I don't know what would have happened." Naruto smiled as he got off of her. No problem, Hinata Aya." Unable to finish his sentence, Naruto was grabbed by something and lifting him up into the air. Hinata gasped in shock and shouted, "Naruto." Hyuuga yanks the boy away from Hinata as he starts to laugh maniacally. "Time to die." The demonic Hyuuga has Naruto in his hands and looks at the boy who was struggling to break free. Damn it. Let G go of me, you freak." Naruto grunted as he was trying to summon his clones to help him. "With pleasure." Hyuuga said with a disturbed look as he starts to drop his arm down along with Naruto and slams the blonde ninja onto the ground. But Hyuuga was not done as he lifts up Naruto again slams him on the other side of the field. Soon after, Hyuuga went mad and kept slamming Naruto back and forth until was unable to move again. "Let go of him, you monster." Hinata shouted as she ran up to Hyuuga with full speed and trying to release Naruto from his grasp. Hyuuga anticipated this and had his other arm made into a shield as Hinata was striking him. Unfortunately, Jugo's shield was tough and she was trying her best to bust through. But Jugo had enough of the girl interfering as he quickly forms his arm back into his previous arm. But before Hinata would strike again, Jugo already delivers a massive blow to Hinata's stomach as his fist was compressed from his elbow and added an extra push to have Hinata flying to the tree. The impact knocks Hinata out cold as Naruto was shocked to see his friend down. Hinata. Naruto just stopped his struggling as he sees the fallen Lynette down and hopes she was okay. But he was unable to react quickly as he was slammed to the ground one last time with full force. The smoke was clearing as Naruto was left knocked out from the massive hit that it renders him useless to get up. Jugo smiles evilly as he then threw Naruto up to the tree right beside Hinata. Both the former Leaf Ninjas were unable to move as Jugo knew this was the right moment to end it all with just one final blow. Jugo's arm transforms into an axe as he was having a sadistic look to show to them as he was waiting for the right time to avenge his fallen friend. This is for you, Kimameru. He lifted his arm up and prepares for the ultimate revenge. But then. Out of nowhere, something collided with Jugo's axe as the demonic killer was gasping in shock. No one has ever stopped his attack as this was the first to see it happen before. Jugo stood back as he was facing a newcomer that interrupted his bloodlust. This mysterious figure wears a mask with red designs and has crimson hair. His outfit was a red tank top with a yin-yang pendant around his neck, black fingerless gloves, black cargo pants, and black sandals. The unknown figure was facing his sword at Jugo while he waits for an attack. The blade was a black and red and had sharp edges out front, it's almost similar to the Red Queen with Nero on Devil May Cry 4, but with new designs. Sorry, but I can't have you killing people. It's just not right. Jugo was enraged by the swordsman who disturbed his battle. How dare you? Jugo ran straight towards the unknown figure as he still had his axe ready for slicing. Suddenly, he then leaps up and was heading right towards the swordsman to split him in two. Uh-oh. The swordsman said as he braced for impact. Steel met with Jugo's arm as they collided again. This time, Jugo stood back and swings back at the swordsman. But the mysterious figure struck back as he went at it at Jugo when both were fighting with blades. Although Jugo couldn't feel no pain, he was suddenly getting weaker. Jugo was rendered speechless as he had enough. His arm transforms into his piston fist as he starts to punch the figure. The figure moves out of the way and has to duck Jugo's punches. Aw, man. Why do I always have to be the first to go against guys like him? Tech, where are you? The mysterious figure thought as he was trying to escape Jugo's arm. But he tripped as he was left wide open for Jugo to attack. Oh, crud. Yeah. Roared Jugo as he then charges right at him. But in a last attempt to stop him, the mysterious figure starts to use hand seals to summon up a powerful jutsu. But he didn't have the chance as he heard a voice saying. Darkness release. Meteor bomber. Out of nowhere, a dark purple sphere of chakra was hurtling towards Jugo as the demonic monster was then hit on impact. Aya. The scream was made with agony as Jugo was then engulfed in the explosion of the dark sphere. The ground was shaking and debris was everywhere as the mysterious figure blocks out the dust that was hitting him. He then looks up and sees the smoke clearing out. There was a huge crater that was made and the red masked man decides to get a closer look at Jugo. Down below, Jugo was down and he was unable to fight. Suddenly, the arm was reverting to normal and his body was coming back to his original form and color. Woo-oh-hoo. The masked figure heard the sound as he looks behind him with a deep sigh. Did you see that, man? I'm good. I wasted that freak with just one move. Did you see that, Dante? The masked figure sweat drops and shook his head. That's because I did all the work to distract him. What took you so long? Had to get the perfect shot. Who can blame me if I miss? The one that was walking up to his friend has black hair and purple eyes with fair skin tone. His attire was a black unzipped sleeveless hoodie with an Anarchy logo at the backside, black shirt with a mesh shirt underneath, arm bandages, blue cargo shorts, and black sandals. The masked figure took off his mask and revealed his emerald green eyes and seeing how he looks like a kid. Just be lucky that you didn't blow up these two here. Tech sees Naruto and Hinata as he blinks 2 times before answering, they'll be fine. So, did I get him? Dante smiled and said, yeah, you got him. Nice hit by the way. Tech smirked as he cracked his knuckles. But then, he heard some noises as he turns to see Naruto getting up from his attack. Ugh, what happened? Naruto looks to see what happened while he was knocked out and turns to see Hinata. But he stopped to look back at the girl as she was injured badly. His memory was coming back to him as Naruto walks up to check on the girl, not realizing the 2 boys in front of him. Hinata. Naruto came up to the girl and hopes that she was okay. After hearing a soft mumble, Naruto sighs in relief. Need any help, kid? Naruto then looks at another direction and sees the 2 boys that saved him and Hinata. Did you guys happen to see some demented person with an axe? Naruto questioned. Yeah, we took him out while you were knocked out. Tech pointed out without a care. What? Naruto couldn't believe what the teen said. They actually took out Hyuuga without getting a single scratch on them. Before he would say more, he sees his friend groaning in pain. Naruto didn't have time to say more as he picks up Hinata and said, if you need me, we'll be at Fireside Hotel. Second floor, third room on the right. Explain yourselves when you're done. As Naruto left to help Hinata out, Tech and Dante were curious to whom they were and why was Jugo trying to kill them. They seem nice. Want to go see them for a bit? But what about him? Surely we can't leave him out here until he wakes up. Dante stated as he looks at the unconscious Jugo. Have any ideas, Tech? I have one. Tech pulls out a kunai and was having a sadistic smile crept on his face. Dante was startled by this and said, Tech. We are not ripping his heart out. Oh, come on. What if he wakes up and starts to kill again? Tech stated. Tech. Dante folded his arms as he gave his friend a stern tone. Tech huffed and said, fine. We'll do it your way. Maybe we can get him to answer his crazy ways. That's better, Dante said as they went down to the crater and subdued Jugo. After meeting with Lady Tsunade and talking about the new team lineup, Sakura was touring her new teammate around the Leaf Village to help him out more. This village is the best to stay at as this place has a library if you want to know about this place or other villages elsewhere, the best restaurants in town, and has the nicest people here. Sakura explains while Tsubasa was listening through all of this. I see. But I was wondering why this village has the stone faces carved on the mountain behind us. He asked. Sakura stopped as she turns to see what he means as she explains. You see, that mountain is a symbol of this village which shows the 4 previous cages that risked their lives for this village. Each one carved before or after they passed to help remind us about we are always strong and peaceful to help others in need as they watch over us. Tsubasa smiled and said. Not bad. How come Lady Hokage doesn't have her face up there? Does she need to die to get herself up there? Sakura giggled softly and shook her head. No, silly. She'll get her place up there soon. It takes time for people to set it up. Amazing. Sakura, how long have you lived in this village? Tsubasa asked while they kept on walking. I lived here since I was born. It became my home and everything as I've made good friends here. My first friend was Ino, the blonde girl with a ponytail, and she helped me out with some problems I had. Sakura sighed. What kind of problems, Sakura? The young monk asked again. Sakura replied, this girl, Ami, was always making fun of me because of my forehead. But Ino showed her as me and her were best friends since then. Suddenly, this boy came into our lives and our friendship started to break apart. After that, we barely had enough time to hang out anymore. Tsubasa sees his teammate looking sad as he feels discomfort to have Sakura in this state. He puts his hand on her shoulder and said, hey, don't feel bad. I'm sure you girls can work it out some way. Isn't that what friends are for? Sakura looks up to see a reassuring smile made on Tsubasa's face. Knowing how he was listening to her this whole time, her new teammate was cheering her up. It was almost as if she was seeing Naruto in front of her. Strange. He's like Naruto and Sasuke, but more serene. Sakura thought as she smiled at the young monk. Thank you, Tsubasa. No problem, Sakura. I'm just glad to see you smiling again. Tsubasa then lifts up his hand and touched Sakura's forehead. This startled her, but she heard him speak. What's wrong with your forehead? Why would you say that? Sakura stuttered as she might think he would call her a freak for having a weird head. I see nothing wrong with it. It just feels so smooth and a little bit soft. It looks fine to me. Tsubasa stated as he rubbed her forehead. Sakura was unable to do anything as this boy was touching her forehead like he didn't care. But what shocked her is that Tsubasa complimented her. Why, you really think so? Tsubasa nodded. I don't see anything wrong. You are who you are. Don't let anyone tell you that differently, okay? Sakura then felt a little happy as she nods her head with a soft blush. Thanks. Why are you always so nice? It's in my nature, I guess. Tsubasa chuckled as Sakura smiled at him. So, you still want to show me around? Of course. Sakura said as they were walking again. But you know, maybe you can tell me about yourself. Okay, Sakura. But do you know a place where we can have less distractions and no noise? Sakura thought and suggested, well, I do know the training ground is not being used right now. We can talk there. Lead the way, the monk said kindly as the two teammates were taking a shortcut through the forest. It's Sugakure, Fireside Hotel. Hinata was stirring as she was grunting a little to try and wake up. Slowly, her eyes were opening as she felt something rubbing her stomach. What happened? Hinata, you're awake. Hearing the voice made her eyes shot open as she was trying to get up. But she felt a slight sting as she held her stomach. Naruto sees this and placed his hand on her back. Easy, Hinata. I still need to make sure you're better to move more. Hinata turns to see her crush as she looks around to see that they were back at the Fireside Hotel in their hotel room. And Naruto, what happened? How did I get here? Well, Naruto explains, me and you were fighting against the psycho and I was grabbed by him. But you came to help me out but was punched to the trees. Hinata gasped as she finally remembers the fight. Oh, no. Did we get him? Naruto sighs deeply and said, we didn't. I was knocked out like you were. But then that means Hinata feared as she thought the monster was still out there. Naruto notices this and simply gave her a pat on the back. It's okay, Hinata. I don't think that psychotic monster won't attack anyone right now. Hearing this made Hinata sigh in relief. Oh, thank goodness. How did you do it? Naruto rubs his head and laughs nervously. Actually, I didn't do anything. I just woke up and saw these two guys in front of me. They were the ones that took that freak down. Hinata was dumbfounded to hear this. Two people took down the demonic monster after her and Naruto couldn't. Really, how did they do that? Naruto shrugged his shoulders and replied, beats me. I was preoccupied into seeing if you were alright. Thank goodness you were. Oh. Hinata looks away in shame after remembering that she didn't help Naruto enough after he was in Jugo's hand. I'm sorry, Naruto. What? Naruto caught this as he looks at a small tear coming down her cheek. Hinata, are you crying? What's wrong? IIW wasn't strong enough to save you, and Naruto. I saw you struggling and it tried to help you. Hinata stuttered as she was sobbing. I'm sorry, Naruto, I failed you as a friend and your teammate. Hey. Don't blame yourself, Hinata. Naruto said calmly as he wrapped his arms around her gently so he won't hurt her injured body. It wasn't your fault. I was lucky to save you from that huge chakra blast he tried to kill us with. And you did your to stop and save me. I, on the other hand, was very lucky that you were okay. Hinata sniffs a bit and rubbing her eyes to get rid of some tears. Why you mean it, Naruto? Naruto smiles as he nods his head. I really do, Hinata. I was quite impressed to what you did today. I'm proud of you. Hinata soon smiled as she was thankful that Naruto cared for and he likes how well she fought today. Thank you, Naruto. Anytime, Hinata. Naruto said as he hugs Hinata softly as the brunette starts to blush. But she shook it off and returns the gesture. Hinata smiled softly as she could feel him caring for her in his arms. Oh, young love. The moment was broken as Naruto and Hinata turns to see two figures standing by the doorway. Naruto and Hinata were now realizing what he means as they pulled away quickly with a huge blush on their faces. Why you didn't SCT that? Peck chuckled as he enters inside to meet them. Really, after you left the battlefield and leaving us hanging, I was thinking you might be trying to get into her shorts. What are you talking about? I would never do that to my friend, you sick pervert. Naruto shouted as his face was red with embarrassment. But then, he looks at them and notices who they were. Hey, aren't you the guys that took out that freak? Actually, I was the one to take him out. Tech stated with modesty. Hey. I was the one who had to stop him while you were supposed to help me out. Dante whined after feeling left out. Tech rolled his eyes. Fine. You did help me a little. Dante had an tears as Hinata was looking confused to who these two guys were. Excuse me. Dante and Tech heard this as they look at the former Hyuuga girl. Yeah. Both of them said in unison. Who are you guys? Hinata asked kindly as she got up. Naruto did the same and said, oh. These are the ones that saved us. Naruto then came up to Tech and extended his hand. Thank you, Tech Long. It's nice to meet you as well. Tech answered as he shook Naruto's hand. Also, the other one behind me is my friend Dante. No surname since he has none. Hello there. Dante said kindly as he shook Hinata's hand. Wow. It's the first time I've seen a Hyuuga before. I've heard they are strong. Naruto chuckled as he wrapped his arm around Hinata's shoulders. This Hyuuga here is Rouge and the strongest one there is. Hinata giggled as she looks at her crush. Naruto, please, you're embarrassing me. You're being too modest. Naruto stated as he looks at the guys. Anyway, this is Hinata. Just Hinata. And my name is Naruto Uzumaki. Wait. Dante said clearly. Your name is Naruto. Yeah. Naruto was looking confused to why Dante would say this. The crimson-haired swordsman's eyes were wide as he came to Naruto. No way. Your name is the Naruto Uzumaki. I can't believe I'm in the presence of the one that has a bridge named after him. Naruto's eyes were wide to hear this as Hinata was curious to hear this. Naruto, did he say that you have a bridge named after you? Naruto chuckled nervously and blushed. Well. Of course. Dante interrupted Naruto. I was amazed that you, Naruto, was the only one to take on one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist and lived. You were also the one to take about half of a dictator's henchmen after freeing the entire village. But I guess the rumors were true as I'm standing near a legend himself. Is this true, Naruto? Hinata asked as she looks at her friend with curiosity. What he said is true. Naruto rubbed his head while looking away. But then, he looks back to see Dante handing him a pen and a notebook. Mr. Naruto, can I have your autograph? It would be an honor. Dante said kindly as if he was looking at a celebrity. Naruto was stunned by this, but grinned as he decides to accept Dante's request. Sure, no problem. Hinata smiled to see how her crush was signing to a fan that likes him. If only that happens every day at the Leaf Village. She silently giggled to another thought. I'm just glad that the girls were so blind to notice him. If I wasn't so nervous back then, I would have gotten his autograph first. HMPH, what a dork. Tech smirks at his friend as Naruto finished signing. Jealous. Naruto grins as Hinata giggles softly. You wish. Tech chuckled as Dante came to him. So what brings you here to the lovely village of Jitsugakure? We took a break here after having a long journey from our old home. Naruto said as him and Hinata sat down. I see. You guys are on a mission. Tech stated. Most likely. We just had problems back there that we needed to escape from. Naruto said as he was looking down. It's complicated. Huh? How complicated we're talking about? Tech asked as he sits down on a chair. Trust me. I really don't want you to feel bad if I tell you my situation. Naruto said sadly as Hinata held his hand with care. Kid, let me explain to you this. I had to deal with a lot of crap in my life that it leads me with nothing but pain and despair. Try me. Tech sternly said as if he challenges him. Naruto looks straight at Tech and sees that he was eager to hear why Naruto and Hinata were on this journey. He looks at Hinata and sees her eyes filled with concern and fear to know what he might say. Knowing what has transpired at the Leaf Village, he knew he wouldn't hide this from anyone. Naruto sighs deeply and said, okay, Tech, I'll tell you. He looks at Dante. And your friend. Tech raised his eyebrow and Dante decides to sit for this one as Naruto starts to explain. Konoha training grounds. Sakura and Tsubasa were getting along well as they started talking to each other while walking towards the training grounds. As they were talking, Sakura even told him much about her old teammates from Team 7 as Tsubasa was interested about how she describes Naruto. She even explains the hardship that Naruto had to face and when he was called dead last by everyone at the academy. The young monk felt bad about Sakura's old friend but smiled to hear that he was a hero during the wave mission and saving his friends from certain danger. But when she finished, Sakura asked him questions as he answered them about how he was born and raised by monks and learning many fighting styles from his master Chiriku. Was your training brutal with your master? Sakura asked. Only about a few when he taught me his special moves. But after leaving the fire temple for a bit, I started learning a few taijutsu moves and a little bit of ninjutsu I follow up on. Tsubasa explains. Really, now? I hope your training will be enough when you go against Kakashi-sensei. We won't hold anything back. Sakura said in a stern tone. Is he the one with the white hair? Tsubasa questioned. Uh-huh. Sakura nods as she soon notices that Tsubasa stopped. She looks at him and sees him looking around and up the sky. She was confused to why as she asks, what are you looking at? Tsubasa looks back at his new friend and said, it seems we have unfriendly guests. Sakura gasped in shock as she gets what he said as 12 figures appear out from the shadows. She looks around to see those wearing headbands with the symbol of the infamous Atagakure village and kanji symbols of their number. Sound ninjas, what are they doing here? Huh. It seems like our boss was right about some pink-haired girl, but not some kid in a bathrobe. The guy in black tracksuit said as the other laughed. What is your business here? You know you aren't allowed here. Sakura shouted as she got into position. Shut it, girl. We only want to take your blonde-haired friend for a little walk to our village. The leader said with a sadistic smile. Sakura gasped. What do you want with Naruto? We just need him. Nothing else. The man said while walking up to her, causing Sakura to be nervous. Now, tell us. Sakura stood her ground and glares with anger. I'm not telling you anything. Leave this village or else. This made the men laughing to mock her threat. The leader just smirked as he silenced his men. Or else what? You look like you can do nothing but run home to your mommy. Sakura looks angry as she was getting tired of hearing the man talk as she hits him across the face with a left hook. The men gasp at this as the leader fell down hard as he looks up with rage. Why, you little. The second sound ninja pulls out his katana and charges straight at Sakura. But then, Sakura looks back to see the blade inches away from her face. It was blocked by a staff as Tsubasa deflects the attack. What the? Sorry, but I don't think killing this nice girl would make me happy. Tsubasa stated while still having a calm look. You prick. Get away. The sound ninja said as he tries to back away. But with Tsubasa's quick reflexes, he slung the katana up to the air and quickly sneaks behind the opponent to wrap his arms around the enemy. Just that fast, Tsubasa falls back as he slams his opponent to the ground as he still remains on his feet. The blade fell to the ground as Tsubasa did some tricks with his staff, got into fighting position while putting the weapon behind him. Some 41 still waiting an. To prevent confusion, I go with numbers of the sound ninjas. Sakura was stunned by this as she soon remembers that the sound ninjas were still there. Sakura then came behind Tsubasa as they were looking at the enemies in front of them. Sakura smirked and said, "Think you can keep up?" "I plan to," the young monk stated with a smile. The leader was shocked by this as he quickly got up to look at his men with anger. "What are you guys standing there for? Kill them and find that demon. Divide and conquer." The sound ninjas then split in two as 6 were going at Tsubasa and the last 5 were at Sakura. Tsubasa and Sakura liked those odds as they separated to face the enemy. Tsubasa was confronted by one man as Sound 3 charges at him with a few punches. But Tsubasa was fast enough to counter them and fighting back with his massive kicks, hitting him from the gut to his face. Sound 3 was then having his wrist twisted and was thrown to the ground as Tsubasa stomps on his stomach to render him and making him unconscious. Just then, Sound 2 and 5 attack as Tsubasa quickly kicks 2 and a back elbow towards 5's face. Unable to move a bit, Sound 2 tries to dodge Tsubasa's palm strikes. Tsubasa had an opening and struck the man to the chest area and did a swift kick to the back of the head. Sound 5 retaliates, but was blocked by the monk's arm. Tsubasa kept blocking with his arms until he broke Sound 5's grasp and did a sudden double palm strike that led him to the trees. Tsubasa then sees Sound 3, 4 and 7 surrounding him with katana and chains. They were looking at him with evil smiles as they will enjoy ripping the boy apart. Tsubasa, however, was starting to like this battle as he pulls out his staff again as facing it towards Sound 3 while he changed his look with a smirk. "Care to try and beat me? Sakura?" Sound 8 came charging at the pincat as Sakura was ducking his attacks. He soon delivers a kick in front, but Sakura grabs his leg and spins him around a bit to let go. Sound 8 was thrown at 10 when Sound 11 charges straight at the pincat with blind fury. But what he didn't check is that Sakura was now strong and brave since that mission with Naruto and Jiraiya. Sakura soon had the Sound ninja dropping down hard as she gave him a left hook across the jaw and quickly managed to duck from flying senbons thrown at her. But as she was landing safely on the ground, Sakura was unaware of the chains grabbing hold of her wrists. She gasped in shock as she sees Sound 12 and 9 holding on to her tight as they smiled wickedly. Sakura was trying to break free, but she was unable to try hard enough. Right in front of her, Sound 11 was coming in front of her with his blade facing her. Slowly, he walks up to the pincat with a sneer on his face as he raised the blade up to the sky. "Any last words, bitch?" Sound 11 said as he was about to strike the girl. But just then, Sakura soon smirks. "Just one. Bye." Sakura then grabs the chains as she then pulls the 2 Sound ninjas with full force. Sound 9 and 12 were then close to colliding with each other, but they sighed as they were away from each other. But that didn't stop Sound 11 from making a big mistake when he pierced his blade through the thrown ninjas. Sound 11 was gasping in fear as he was jumping back from the scene. But his legs were caught by some chains as he was down on the ground. He looks up to see Sakura, still having chains on her wrists, waving at him. He begged her to not kill him, but Sakura decides another approach. Tsubasa. Blades and staff collided as Tsubasa quickly 3 and 7 out of the way. Sound 3 then struck back at the young monk as he was swinging at him with conviction. The monk quickly made the Sound ninja trip forward in front of him as his palms struck the ninja down hard. Tsubasa turns around to see Sound 4 and 7 getting angry at the kid and were charging at him. Tsubasa soon smiled as he knew it was the right time to test out his ninjutsu against the enemy. Using his staff, he spins it around as it was picking up great speed as it was and shouted, "Futon. Taifu Kajeki wind release. Typhoon attack." Suddenly, a gust of wind was building up as it forms a small twister to come out. The force of the twister became too strong for the Sound ninjas as their weapons were blown away. And at that moment, Sound 4 and 7 were blown away. But as they were blown, Sakura suddenly appears and sees the target coming her way. The Sound ninjas fear the worst as the pincat made a devastating blow to them and knocking them back to Tsubasa. The monk anticipated this and kicks upwards to their chins as they were flying into the air. The Sound ninjas scream in pain as Sakura sees them going higher until she looks back at her teammate. The young monk put his palms together as if he was praying and waiting on the enemies to come back. Sound 4 and 7 were falling down as they were unable to move or evade the ground. As they were close to Tsubasa, he opens his eyes and had his palms upward and catching them on their backs. Silence took over as Sound 4 and 7 were passed out from the devastating impact. Tsubasa drops them on the ground and picks his staff up with his foot while doing some few tricks. Sakura was surprised by this and came towards him with a huge smile. "That was awesome. You kicked so many asses that I couldn't believe it any way possible." Tsubasa just smiled as he rubs his head. It was no problem. But I should congratulate you for your fighting style. Where did you learn how to punch like that? Sakura giggled as she has her fist up. I may have the brains, but I'm sure that I got the bronze to help me out with that. She put her fist down and continued. For a monk, you sure know how to fight better than any ninja. And you are too nice to take out the enemy with ease. Tsubasa commented as Sakura had her cheeks turning pink. Unaware by their conversation, the leader was coming behind them and pulling out his kunai to strike at them for destroying his comrades. He would make sure that the mission would be completed if it kills him. The leader was about to strike but felt a sharp sting hitting him as he gasped in pain. He fell down to the ground as Tsubasa and Sakura turns to see the leader unconscious. What the? Seems like you have everything under control. Suzumabachi came out of the trees and walks up to her teammates. And it appears that you took out the remaining group. These bastards came out of nowhere and interrupted my training. Suzumabachi. It's nice to see you. Tsubasa said as Sakura nodded. I should say the same thing about you too. I heard some fighting over here and see if you needed my help. It seems like you and Pinky over there beat me to it. Suzumabachi clarified. Sakura ignores the name given to her and asked, so what did you do to the leader? Oh, I paralyzed him for a while. It will take about 12 hours for it to wear off. She stated as she patted his head. Care to explain why his crew attacked us? I think I know why. But we need to take the leader to Lady Tsunade for interrogation and have Anbu take these guys. Sakura stated. The group took the leader as they disappeared in smoke. Itsugakure, Fireside Hotel. Thak and Dante were speechless after hearing Naruto's story as they couldn't believe the council would decide either exile or execution. But what shocks them is that Hinata's own father would disown her and beat her down. Wow, kid, sorry to hear that. Tech said as he pats Naruto's shoulder for comfort. That must have been messed up to deal with those bastards. Thanks, but I've had worse from my childhood when every villager almost killed me for something I didn't do. Naruto said sadly. But that's not fair. They should have given you a chance to hear you out more. Or save you. Dante said with an upset tone. Did the Hokage try to stop it? No, Naruto replied, the council always does this behind their backs so they can have more power. Damn. At least you chose the best way to get out of there besides getting killed for nothing. Tech stated. Yeah. But that's okay. Naruto said as he smiles. Because I was happy to leave that village. And with Hinata with me and her could start over and live a better life. Tech raised his eyebrow and asked, how come? Well, I was told about this village that used to be my own home with great people to live there as Uzumaki's. I plan on finding that village and rebuild the Uzumaki bloodline. Naruto stated. What's the name of the village that you were told about? Dante asked with curiosity. It's called the Izushiogakure village. Naruto answered. What? Tech and Dante shouted in unison. Naruto and Hinata blinked 3 times until Hinata said, you've heard about it. Are you kidding me? I've had a hard time trying to locate that place. People told me legends about that village as I was trying to find it and see if it exists. Tech exclaimed. Well, I'm planning to make sure that happens. Naruto stated as Hinata smiles at her friend. Before Dante would say anything, he heard a groan right outside the halls as he got up to look. As he took a quick peek, Dante sees something as he speaks to Tech. Sir. Tech looks back and sees his friend pointing down to the direction outside. So our freakish pal is starting to wake up, huh? Freakish pal? Naruto said with confusion. 1 second. Tech said as he went outside to get something. But as he came back, Naruto and Hinata's eyes were wide as they see Tech dragging the chained monster that tried to kill them. But his appearance was now looking more human and his other form. What the are you guys crazy? Naruto shouted. Why did you bring him here? He might wake up and go on a rampage. Hinata complied. Don't worry, Hinata. The chains I put around nullify his other half for a while, as long as this is on him. Dante explains as he sees Jugo opening his eyes. After waking up, Jugo was looking around and seeing some people inside the room. Where am I? He then looks down to see chains wrapped around him. And why are these chains on me? The group stood silent as they were wondering why he was asking them that. But before anyone would say anything, Tech came up and pulls a kunai at his face. You tell us. You were looking like some beast from hell and start striking these 2 people. Jugo looks at Naruto and Hinata as he has his head down in shame. Oh, no. Not again. Again? Hinata said as she came closer to him. What do you mean by that? And why did you try to kill me and Naruto? It's not polite to not answer the girl's question. Talk. Tech spoke in a stern tone. Jugo looks at Tech and Hinata as he nodded. He soon rolls off the floor and sat down with his legs crossed. Okay, I'll talk. The others were ready to hear what Jugo has to say until Sayuki came to see them. Hey, guys. She greeted as she then looks at Hyuga, which startled her. Don't worry, he's under control. Dante reassured her. Sayuki sighs deeply and replied, oh, okay. Anyway, I thought you guys might want something to eat. It's the least I could do after you saved this hotel. Ah, it's no problem. So Sayuki, what are you making? Naruto asked kindly. Well, I thought I might serve you guys some ramen and tea. Sayuki answered. Ramen. Shockingly, Naruto and Dante shouted in unison as they looked at each other with a surprised look. Wait. You love ramen too? Oh, shit. Not another one. Tech groaned as Hinata giggled softly. This was going to be a long night for them. Team 7 were leaving the Hokkage's office after explaining what has happened during their break. Sakura told Tsunade about a rogue attack from the Sound Ninjas and managed to get a hold of the leader. Tsunade was impressed that the team cooperated well for the first time, and Kakashi was even amazed how the team handles the situation. Right now, the new Team 7 headed down the BBQ restaurant and was greeted by the other members. Hey, guys. Ino was the first to speak. Hey Ino. Hello, everyone. Sakura greeted as they did the same. It seems like the whole gang is here. Greetings, Sakura. Lee said with a thumbs up. You never seem to stop living up to your sensei. Sakura shook her head. So, how are you doing? Mostly training hard as always. Guy sensei had us going through a lot and we needed to improve our training. Lee stated. I see. So, what about the rest of you guys? Sakura asked. Well, Niji was helping me with some of his moves so I can defend myself more. I know I'm a weapon mistress, but it wouldn't hurt to learn a few taijutsu moves. Tenten said. Sakura looks at Niji and asked, is this true? Niji nodded. Tenten is learning the basics even without my clan's Kekai Genkai. But I believe she's improving well. You're being too modest, Niji-sensei. Tenten teased. Niji blushed red and replied, please, don't call me that. I'm just your teammate helping you so you don't have to rely on just weapons to help you. Thanks, you big softy. Tenten complied as she punched his arm slightly as the group laughed. So Sakura, who are the new guys? Oh, these are my new teammates. This is Suzumabachi from the Kamizuru clan and this is Tsubasa Kazama from the Fire Temple. Sakura answered. It's a pleasure to meet you, Tsubasa. I've heard about you at the Fire Temple. Lee said as he shook Tsubasa's hand. You've heard about me? Tsubasa raised his eyebrow with interest. Indeed. Lee replied. You were one in your top class to perfect many taijutsu skills while using your fighting style of Shaolin Fist. Your techniques are sacred and your fellow ninja monks are quite impressive. It's not all that great, Tsubasa said with modesty as he rubs his head. What's it like being the new Leaf Ninja? Ino asked. I think it's great. I can finally get to explore places and see the world out there. I was bored staying at the Fire Temple that I feel like I can never escape its grasp. But still, I promised to come and visit my home for a while. Tsubasa said. And what about you, Suzumabachi? How do you like your new team? Tenten questioned. The bee mistress just sighs deeply and answered, I guess it's okay. I'm still mad that my brothers are dead after that incident. But I guess me and my brothers did kinda deserve that. What do you mean? Chaoji asked. My clan is very strict of its specialty in bees as I was next in line to lead the Kamizuru clan to new heights. My grandfather expected me to succeed and making sure I don't make any mistakes. But at some time, my grandfather made me do some things that I'm not proud of and my brothers were worried about me. And for my last chance to prove myself worthy, I had to find the Pikachu beetle and help restore the clan. Suzumabachi stated. How so? Kiba said with curiosity. Suzumabachi looks away as she rubs her arm. I'd rather not say. The group was confused to why she spoke in a mumbling tone. But unknown to them, Shino was looking straight at the bee mistress and sees a dark bruise mark on her left shoulder hidden on her purple kimono. The mark appears to be about 5 months and still looks scarred. It's alright, Suzumabachi. If you don't wish to speak about it, we'll understand. This made the group looking at the hooded genin as they pondered to why he would defend her. Shino? Kiba asked his comrade. Trust me. It's not worth talking about. Shino said sternly as Suzumabachi was surprised by how he was defending her like that. Just then, a waitress came by and delivers their plates and other servers gave them their meals. Alright, I'm starving. Chaoji exclaims. Now Chaoji, the doctors did say that you still have to take it easy on your eating habits. But I'm glad that you are feeling better again. Ino said in a caring tone. Gee, thanks. Chaoji said as he picks up the lamb chop. So, I'm guessing you're an Akamichi, correct? Tsubasa said. You've heard about me? Chaoji stated before eating his food. Just a little. Tsubasa said. But I wonder who else can eat crazy like you. Hearing this almost made them worry about how Chaoji reacts, but they heard laughter as Chaoji smiled at the monk. Oh, I know one guy that has a bottomless pit of a stomach who eats something different than this. And who would that be? Suzumabachi curiously asked. At the same time, the Konoha genin shouted, Naruto. Both Tsubasa and Suzumabachi blinked 3 times until Suzumabachi asked, and what was the only thing that he always eats? Sakura giggles softly and answered, the only thing that satisfy his hunger and begging for more. Itsugakure, Fireside Hotel. Ramen. Naruto and Dante's mouths were drooling with excitement as they were staring at a bowl of miso pork ramen. Without a second thought, the 2 ramen lovers were eating the noodles down like there's no tomorrow. Tech's left eye was twitching as he sweat-drop at the scene to see another person sharing the same liking to ramen. Hinata was giggling at the sight to see his biggest fan loving the same cravings like her friend does. Sayuki just sat down and began to eat her food while looking at the boys eating their ramen like crazy and smiled silently to see how they love her cooking. So, how did I do? Naruto and Dante slurped their food quickly and replied, this is awesome. While the others were enjoying their meal, Hyuuga was sitting by himself so he can be kept watch by the others to make sure he doesn't escape. Deep down, the teen was still feeling terrible for himself for going on a rampage like that. He looks down at his tea to see his own reflection after looking at his other self. But as he was distracted, Hyuuga heard footsteps as he looks up to see Hinata handing him a bowl of ramen. Here. Hinata said in a soft tone. Hyuuga was actually surprised to have the brunette offering dinner like after what he did to her. Hyuuga didn't say anything as he thought she would be mad for him trying to kill her and her friend. It's okay. Eat up. I don't want you to starve yourself. The girl was looking innocent and smiling at him with care. Hyuuga blinked a few times before thinking over of accepting the offer. But he sees that the girl was being polite and he knew that he couldn't say no to the girl. He slowly moved his hands up to the bowl and took it in his hands to take it. Hinata giggled silently as she walks back to her seat. Sayuki sees this and couldn't help but smile at the kunoichi. She was surprised that Hinata would offer the person some food after what he almost did to them. She seems too nice to give him food like that. Sayuki said to Naruto. Hinata is the nicest girl to ever meet and she always generous to others because of her gentle heart. She's not the one to hold grudges. Naruto replied as Hinata sat back down by his side. How are you feeling, Hinata? I feel much better, Naruto. I was wondering how my injuries were healed quickly. Hinata pondered. Remember that ointment you gave me after my fight with Kiba? Naruto said as Hinata nodded. I pulled it out and helped heal your injuries. Naruto pulls out the same ointment made by Hinata. The brunette gasps in surprise. Naruto, you kept it even after the Chunin exam. Naruto nods his head. It helped me a lot and why should I waste a great gift from a good friend? Hinata was speechless. It was the most thoughtful thing that Naruto has done for her and couldn't believe that he would still keep the ointment. Oh, Naruto. Hinata cried as she gave him a hug around his neck. You are so sweet. Thank you. Hinata gave Naruto a kiss on the cheek and the blonde flushed red with a small smile. Sayuki was giggling as Dante smiles to see true love in front of his eyes. Tech, however, was gagging from the touching moment. You. Get a room, you two. I think I'm going to hurl. Naruto chuckled as he spoke back to the dark-haired teen. Don't hate because I have the cutest girl hugging me. Naruto, stop it. Hinata looks away in embarrassment. There's nothing to be ashamed of, Hinata. You know it's true. Naruto said as he looks at Hyuuga. Hey, guy. Hyuuga, who ate a little of his noodles, looks at Naruto and the others as they look at him. Why yeah. Listen, I know you are afraid to explain yourself, but we can forgive you if you tell us your name and why did you attack us? Naruto stated. Tech glares at him with an evil intent. And trust us, pal. Give us a good answer or I would be pissed and will not hesitate to break you in half. Dante sighs deeply as he looks at his friend. Tech. No. It's okay. I'm sorry that I attacked you all. I'm not mostly this angry at some time unless I'm angry. Hyuuga said sadly. Care to explain, please? Hinata asked kindly as she sips her tea. Hyuuga looks at the others and nods his head as he looks at his tea. My name is Hyuuga. I used to be a prisoner of Orochimaru when I was being one of his sick experiments. I'm mostly a nice person to get along with and respectful for my actions. Well, your actions involve a huge blast of chakra and a giant axe. I bet you said a lot more with your hands than your mouth. Tech said sarcastically. Hyuuga looks away as he says more. I know. But I couldn't help myself for it. There was some complications. What do you mean by complications? Dante inquired. The group stops what they were doing and looking straight at Hyuuga. The tension was building up as Hyuuga feels a bit uneasy to say more. But unfortunately, he has no other choice but to have them understand his problem. Hyuuga took a deep breath and exhales as he starts to explain his story. My life is both heaven and hell. When I was young, I lived a nice life with a decent childhood and having a nice family to stay with. I was feeling happy and calm as I never thought I would in a nice village. I have a mother and a little brother. They were the only ones that make me happy. But one day, everything has changed. That night I went out to get something to drink. I went to the store and bought me some things for dinner. I walked into the forest to take a shortcut until something came out of nowhere and took me away. I started regaining consciousness and waking up somewhere dark and cold. I started to freak out and try to leave, but I was chained down and scared. Just then, I was hearing footsteps coming towards me. I was feeling happy to know that someone would find me and rescue me. But I was wrong. All I see were these strange men looking at me. Their eyes were filled with rage, and they were giving me this evil intent that scared me. I asked who they were, but they didn't answer. I tried to ask again, but I couldn't. I only wanted my mother with me and needed to leave. Then, these monsters did something to me. Something inhuman. I had this sudden pain inside me. And from that moment, my life has changed. It has been years since I've seen freedom or the light as I was trapped inside with many others like me, and I didn't know how long I was there. As months went by, so did my sanity. I then look at my captors, and they kept hurting me and abusing me with their sadistic attacks, as I could feel something inside me that forced it to retaliate. This power. This hatred. It created me into what I am now. A monster. And when my eyes were blind and red, I black out. I woke up. I then see something bright and glowing as I felt like I was finally home to my village. But I was in hell. My village destroyed and burning into the ashes. I see bodies everywhere as I couldn't believe who would do this. I felt something wet and red as I look at my own hands. Blood. Blood was everywhere. I couldn't believe that I actually did that. And from that moment I tripped, it broke me inside as I looked down. My mother, my brother, I mean no, Kami. Hyuga covered his face as he starts to cry in depression after explaining his story. The others were silent and were unable to say more about knowing about the truth of Hyuga and his relentless past. Knowing how Naruto feels, this was something to know how much Hyuga's life was truly hell. But before Naruto would say anything, someone approached the broken teen to confront him. Hyuga couldn't stop crying, and he fell dead inside after that tragic night. Hey Hyuga. The former monster slowly released his hands from his face and looks at the teen, while having his eyes becoming puffy with stray tears revealing. Tech comforts Hyuga while placing his hand on his shoulder. He felt bad for him and can't help but feel depressed for what he has done. Don't be sad, Hyuga. I know how you feel. Tech said. How? How can you understand my pain? Hyuga choked a bit as he looks at him directly. Tech sighs deeply and looks back at the others behind him. Sayuki and the teens were not able to say a word as Dante was the first Tech looks at. He knows that each of them has a story to tell as he felt himself dreading to tell Hyuga about his own childhood. Tech looks at Hyuga and said, you think I don't understand pain? Maybe you don't know how I lived to mask my own pain while fighting my enemies. What? Hyuga questioned. Tech looks at Hyuga directly and said, HMPH. December 24, 10:27 p.m. Flashback. I was 5 years old and sleeping after helping my parents setting up for the holidays and getting ready for my little sister's birthday. It was the first time I've had my father coming home for Christmas and I wanted mom to get things ready for his arrival. But then, I heard someone was coming as I realized who was coming when I heard voices. I was feeling happy that I knew my father came back. Instead, I heard screams of terror. It was that day that he came. Blood was spilled and the people in my clan were running away from someone wielding this giant scythe and laughing like this crazed maniac. This man was calling himself the servant of Jashin as he spreads nothing but destruction and chaos whenever he finds the next person to kill. One by one, my friends and family were both slaughtered and mutilated by him as I feared that my mother and sister might be next. I can hear my mother calling my name as I see my father arriving in time after so many months being on long-term missions from our leader. He was badly hurt and bloody while he told me that my sister is somewhere far away from the compound to hide. But it was too late as the crazed man broke into our home and hearing my mom screaming. My dad told me to escape the room until he gives the signal. I told him I want to fight, but he ordered me to do as I told. But seeing how his eyes were, I knew I couldn't argue with him. And so I ran, but not until I soon found my mother dead. I was shocked and horror and I was unable to move. But then I saw him. I look up to see the killer who murdered my mother as he was giving me a sadistic smiling, telling me that I was gonna die. He looks like this voodoo skeleton-esque and this giant weapon that almost looks heavy to lift. But before he would kill me, my father sacrificed himself as the blade pierced right through his torso. I just stood there. Broken. My father was dying as he was thrown against the wall. As I turned to see the man, he was gone after reinforcements came. But before my dad passed away, he told me to grow up and find my sister so that both of us can live a happy life. And before help came, I ran away and didn't look back. Then flashback. Hyuga was completely speechless to hear this as he stares into Tech's eyes and see nothing but despair and sadness. I'm. Don't be, said Tech as he pat his shoulder. Christmas was never the same for me as I couldn't celebrate it ever since that damn night. I almost had thoughts of suicide and knew that I would blame Kami for not saving my family from that demon spawn from hell. I even went on to searching for him, but I just couldn't. And when I tried to end my life, I was hearing my mother's voice inside my head and looking at what I was about to do. So I backed away. And I went ahead to start over. The others were depressed and couldn't say anything as Sayuki was in tears to hear the kid's story. But for Naruto, it was like he was looking over another person that shares the similar fate of having a family murdered. Hyuga was about to speak, but Tech spoke again. Trust me, Jugo. You're not alone with this. Tech then points at the group. My friend, Dante, has no memory of what has happened in his past when I found him at Tsuchigumo village when he and his friend were surrounded by thieves. Naruto just explained to me that he was born without no parents and the entire village tried to kill and put him in the dirt. And that little Blanette over there had her own father abusing and disowning her along the way. My, Kami. Jugo thought. How did each of those teens live through their pain and still be happy? Were you guys even mad? The teens shook their heads as Naruto answered for Tech, why should we be mad? You live with a hatred so long, it can one day cost you everything you stand for. I know I want to kill all those villagers for making my life a living hell, but I always have to respect the ninja way. But I feel your pain, friend. Hyuga was shocked to hear that word from Naruto. Did Tech say that he was his friend? After what he tried to do to them, they would consider him a friend. I'm why your friend. Just then, Naruto extends his hand out and smiles. For someone who can kick butt than the way he looks, he's okay in my book. We're friends, Jugo, and we forgive you. Hyuga turns to the group and sees approving smiles from each one. His heart was feeling warm inside and felt something else that he never expected to have back for a long time. Happiness. Jugo looks at Naruto and Tech and smile as he shook the blonde's hand. No problem. Tech said as he looks at Naruto. Hey. What's up, Tech? Naruto asked. If you plan on finding that lost village, I'm coming along to help you out. Tech said. Naruto gasped and replied, for real? Tech nods his head and looks at Dante. What about you, Dante? Are you thinking of starting a new adventure and a new life? I don't mind, Tech. Maybe I can find out more and find parts of my memory. I'm just glad to meet the future ninja legend and aiding him in his battles. Dante stated as Naruto laughs a bit. Hinata giggles and spoke to Naruto. It looks like we're going to have company joining us on our journey, Naruto. You know it, Hinata. With you by my side, we will take down anyone in our path. Believe it. Naruto shouted as he raised his glass up. To new beginnings. The new beginnings. Hinata and Dante repeated. Hell yeah. Tech shouted as they all cheered with their drinks and Sayuki giggling at the sight. Hyuga just stood and watched the scene. He smiles and was happy to meet them all and knew he was forgiven. Kimameru, I hope you are watching this. On the Hagakure Intelligence Division. Inside the padded room, Ibiki came out of there with him hands bloodied and a little bruised while dealing with the rogue leader, Goro, and his henchmen. Tsunade and Jiraiya stood by the window and watched Ibiki showing his ways to get him to talk. It seems like he's cooperate enough to talk. Ibiki said as he rubs his hands. Any ideas on why him and his squad attacked Team 7 and how they came into the village without getting spotted? Tsunade questioned. Ibiki said, this punk knew better than to realize that the last place he would go to is the training grounds. But for the squad like that, they were definitely looking for Naruto. But why? Hasn't Orochimaru gotten Sasuke to join him for power? Jiraiya asked patiently. Well, Ibiki explains, it seems that Orochimaru wanted something more than just Sasuke. According to what this freak told me, Orochimaru needs Naruto for something big. Probably getting the fox's powers from the boy and giving him to the Akatsuki for a trade. Tsunade and Jiraiya were looking angry and glare at Goro inside the other room. That snake bastard. Tsunade mumbled. And I think we have bad news. He told me that someone leaked information on how to enter this village without being detected by the ninja hounds or any other jonin. Ibiki stated. By who? Tsunade questioned in concern. Ibiki sighs deeply and answered, by someone inside the Leaf Village. It was now morning as Naruto and his new friends were up and waiting for Hinata to join them. Things were going great for the teens as they were now friends and forgive a former monster who had to deal with a lot in his life. Right now, the boys were talking to Jugo as they wait. You sure you don't want to go with us? We could always use an extra hand to help us if we run into danger. Naruto offered. Thanks, but I need to help out with rebuilding the damages I've caused. Hopefully, I can get done and join you. Jugo said as he extends his hand to Naruto. Good luck, Naruto. And sorry again for slamming you to the ground. Naruto grinned as he shook his hand. No problem, Jugo. As Naruto and Jugo shook hands, the girls came out of the remains of the lobby. Naruto and the guys were then speechless and had a slight nosebleed, except Jugo, to see Hinata in her new look. Hinata now sports a short-sleeved black top, blue kunoichi pants, black fingerless gloves, and black sandals with small heels. Wow, I mean wow. Naruto spoke first as Hinata came up to him. Thank you Naruto. Sayuki thought I should wear something better and more fitting. I still have my old clothes, though. Hinata stated. Hey, I'm fine with that. Are you ready to go, Hinata? Naruto said. I am, Naruto. Hinata answered. Sayuki walks up to them and said, I wish you all good luck on your journey. But are you sure you will find and rebuild a village that may, or may not, exist? Miss Sayuki, Dante said in a kind tone, I believe that whenever we arrive to the place, we can assure you that it does exist and we'll tell you everything. I hope so, because I would love to see how it is. Sayuki then looks at Naruto and Hinata. You two lovebirds take care of yourselves, okay? You are always welcome to stay here as long as you want. Naruto moves his hands towards Hinata's and enclosed it, causing Hinata to blush. I will always promise to take care of her for as long as I live. Sayuki smiled and said, you do that, Naruto. Naruto nodded as him and his friends disappeared in smoke. That leaves Jugo and Sayuki right by the remains of the lobby. Where do I begin? Sweep now and rebuild later. I always wanted to redecorate the place. Sayuki stated as she hands Jugo the broom. At least you can calm down with this kind of work. Thank you, Sayuki-san. Jugo bowed as he starts to sweep the floor. Sayuki smiles happily as she returns back to her work. On Hagakure, Haruno residence. In the backyard, Sakura was training with Hanabi to help get her stronger and better to one day outshine the Hyuuga clan. The girls were energetic and calm as they started off with a few sparring matches. But in the end, Sakura took out Hanabi with one last hit. Ow, that hurts. I can't believe this. Hanabi stated as she rubs her backside. Well, you are getting there. Care to try and start again, Hanabi? Sakura asked kindly. Wish I could, but I'm feeling a bit exhausted from the morning training. Hanabi stated as she got up from the ground. Okay, Hanabi. I guess we can call it a day. Sakura said while drying her sweat with her towel. Coming out of the house, there was a woman walking close to Sakura and Hanabi. It was Mibuyuki Haruno. Mother of Sakura and wife of the late Kizashi Haruno. Mibuyuki is one of the Konoha council members that was shocked to hear about Naruto's exile and couldn't help but feel bad about him. Mibuyuki was never the bad person as she was like Tsume and Shikaku to help have Naruto stay. But thanks to Kaharu's threats and mentioning about Kizashi, Mibuyuki stood silent and was pissed at the elder woman's actions. The blonde woman plans on never giving up until she helps her daughter bring her friend back. Hey, you two. I see you girls are training hard as always. Mibuyuki mentions with a smile. Yeah, mom. Hanabi is really starting to be like me at the time. Just yesterday, she almost broke a boulder in half. Sakura exclaimed. Oh. I'm impressed. Mibuyuki then looks at Hanabi. Growing up to be like your sister? Yes, Mibuyuki-san. I want to make sure Hinata sees me doing great if I ever go to some missions. I hope she's safe out there. Hanabi said with concern. Mibuyuki smiled. I know she will be fine, Hanabi. She has her friend with her to protect her from harm. And call me just by my name or mom, if you don't mind. Okay, mom. Hanabi giggles as the Harunos laugh at her antics. Oh, Sakura. I forgot to mention that your teammates are at the front door. They said the Kakashi wishes for you and them to head to the training grounds for something important. Mibuyuki announced. Sakura sighs deeply and said, I just hope he stays there until we arrive. I'm getting bored of him showing up 3 hours late. You mind if I join you if I can find the old pervert? Hanabi asked as Sakura laughed softly. Wrong person, Hanabi. But he does seem like one since he read those books of his. Sure. Sakura came to her mother and hugs her. Later, mom. Be back soon. Alright. Take care of yourselves. Mibuyuki shouted happily as she looks behind her and sees a towel on the ground. The blonde woman sighs as she went over to pick it up and head back inside. But before she opens the door, Mibuyuki felt a familiar chakra pattern that appeared out of nowhere. This was something she felt before and she regrets not knowing this kind of power. What do you want, Danzo? The figure right behind her was none other than one of the council members that were proud that Naruto was gone out of the village. Good morning, Mibuyuki. I see that your daughter is becoming just like you every day. Danzo said with a sinister tone. HMPH. Like you should care. At least she knows how to give people the message on who to invite. Now, what do you want? Mibuyuki said in a strict tone. Oh, come on. I only want to see how my old friend is doing lately. Danzo spoke calmly. We are not friends, you bastard. And if you think I'm interested in talking to you more, go fuck yourself. The blonde woman swears as Danzo just chuckles softly. Oh, Mibuki. Such language. I'm surprised that you didn't say things like that to Kaharu when she suggested that the demon boy should be exiled. Danzo inhales the air and slowly exhales to enjoy the air. The village seems so much better without him. What the hell do you want, you prune-drinking prick? Mibuki shouted in rage. I just came by to tell you that we are having another meeting in a couple of weeks to discuss a few things. Danzo stated. Mibuki raised her eyebrow and sneered. If so, why did that bitch send her dog to bring me the message? It's a surprise. Just remember to be there on time. Danzo starts to leave until he turns around to see Mibuki one last time. You know we could have had a better future one day. Dealing with Kizashi was the biggest mistake of your life. Mibuki shot a deadly glare at him and said, get the hell out of my property or I'll kick your ass. And if you go anywhere near my daughter, you're dead. Danzo just smirked as he disappears into the wind. Mibuki was enraged, but she calms down after realizing that she has a meal to make for dinner later on. But then, she sees something on the spot where Danzo was. It was a black cloth and it felt like silk. The blonde woman was curious to why Danzo would forget to grab it. She decides to take it and have someone take a look at it. I wonder. The forest. It has been a couple of hours since Naruto and the gang left Yotsugaker and saying their goodbyes to Sayuki and Jugo. They were getting bored as they decided to talk to pass the time. Naruto starts first to tell Tech and Dante about what Konohagakure is like and how there were great ninjas there. Dante was mostly interested in how Naruto was a hero for saving everyone from Gaara and how that made the Leaf has allies at Sunagakure. But what made Dante so excited is that Naruto told him about Ichiraku's and that it has a large assortment of ramen of any choosing. Dante's mouth was watering as Tech shook his head at his friend for being a ramen-loving freak. Hinata giggles at this and looks at Tech with a curious look. So Tech, how did you and Dante ever meet? I bet you always drive him crazy to what you do. Tech smirks and said, we've been best pals since we've met at some village 4 years ago. I was walking inside so I can get some relaxation after training. The place was Kurigakure and the place reeks of lame and boring. But it was the only thing I can settle with until I'm back on the road again. Suddenly, these guys out of nowhere were surrounding this kid for no reason and he was hurt badly. Was that kid Dante? Naruto inquired. Of course. Tech answered as he looks at his friend. Tell him why, my retired swordsman. Certainly, said Dante as he tells his story. I was visiting Kurigakure for a bit so I can see the sights from it. I left Tsuchigumo village to see if I can remember anything about my past and see what I can find for food. That night, I saw these thugs picking on some woman and her child. I managed to stop them both, but they soon had me down in number. They were not normal thugs and I couldn't take them out on my own, so I had no choice. That continues to tell their story. And that's where I came in. I couldn't let him hang like that and he seems like he needs to save those people. I lent a hand and took a few down. But this guy chuckles, this guy can kick so much ass that he starts slashing some bodies. Oh, come on. I'm not that good. Dante blushed red while being modest. Please. Dante took down the leader and saved those people with good swordsmanship. Hell, the woman even gave the knight a kiss on the cheek. Tech said with a smirk. Tech. Dante said as he rubs his head. Hey, don't be embarrassed. Naruto said as he patted Dante's back. There's nothing to be ashamed of. I think it's very sweet of you to save that family. You truly are a hero. Hinata said with a soft smile. Dante chuckled. Thank you, guys. So Naruto, do you know where we can find the lost village? I wanted to know what it looks like when we get there. Tech asked. Naruto sighs and replied, I can't say. I only heard much about how the place is and I was shocked to hear what happened to it. All I know is that the place was destroyed but soon missing out of existence. All I know is that we need to know where it might be and find any of the missing Uzumaki survivors out there. Don't worry, Naruto. We'll find them. We just have to know where they might be and hoping they are okay. Hinata said as she comforts her friend. Naruto looks at Hinata and smiles at her. Thanks Hinata. I needed that. Anytime, Naruto. Hinata replied. But I do, however, feel curious to how we are going to find them and the village. I don't think my Byakugan can even help us out with that. Do you think we know anybody that could help us out? Naruto questioned, having Hinata shaking her head. Suddenly, Dante shouts something with excitement. Oh, wait a minute. I think I know someone who might help us out with our search. Really, you know someone who can help us? Naruto asked with joy. I don't, but Tech does. Dante pointed out to his friend. Tech looks slowly at the group and stares at them with anger. Hell no. Naruto and Hinata said in unison. I am not going to answer that. I can't. I won't do it. Tech stated with conviction. Tech, come on. Just try to see this out for once. Dante pleaded. Dante, you are crazy. I am not going to do it. The team looks away with a huff as Naruto and Hinata were confused. What are you guys talking about? Naruto asked. We know one person that can help us find Yuzashii Agakure with ease as she was the one to find it out of nowhere. Dante smiled. Who is she? Naruto and Hinata asked. Oh, this girl happens to be Tech's best friend. She can be very helpful to us if we ask her nicely. Dante answered. Tech scoffed. I highly doubt it. Oh, don't be like that. Dante interjects. Come on, I know the place where we can find her at. Like where exactly? Naruto said as Dante looks at them with a grin. Only the best place that Tech lives is his home village. Ikigakure. It was sundown and Naruto and the gang made it to their first stop to Tech's old village. Ikigakure. It was the same village that has the amazing side of the village and enclosed by a giant waterfall that's blocking the entrance. The teens were looking with mesmerizing stares as they couldn't tell what to say about the sight. It's so beautiful. Hinata said in awe. It is, Hinata. It is. Naruto replied as he remembers the time that he was once here. I don't think this moment could ever go away. Such beauty and grace. Dante commented as the three teens were gazing at the waterfall. Just then, their amazement was over as Tech decides to end it as he opens the waterfall with his water jutsu. Let's get this over with. That waterfall is making me feel like I need to take a piss. Tech carelessly said as the group sweat drops at his comment. The guys were inside the streets of the village as they were sightseeing to how Tech's home was. Naruto was surprised to see the place looking new with better stores and more people living there. He also hopes to see his old pal Shibuki and wondering how he's doing. Naruto? Hinata asked. The blonde ninja looks at his friend and said, what's up, Hinata? Have you ever been to this place before? Hinata said. Naruto nodded. I did back when Team 7 was still a team. We were on a mission that we needed to help the new leader from this mad tyrant. His name is Shibuki and he is the world's craziest coward to ever be afraid of his own shadow. Tech interrupted. What? No, no, no. He's cool now. I wish you could see him in action. Naruto then stops to see the rest of the group. In fact, we should split up. Me and Hinata will locate Shibuki and show you the new act of bravery. Dante, you and Tech go ahead and find the mysterious friend. Wait a minute. How come you get to have Hinata join you? Tech said with curiosity. I need to show her around the place and let her see the sights. Naruto then enclosed his hand to Hinata as he stares at her eyes. Come on, Hinata. Hinata smiled and said, okay, Naruto. As the former Leaf Ninjas left, that only leaves Tech and Dante by themselves. Well, I'm outta here. I'm getting me a quick bath at the springs and finding me an apple. You're just saying that because you don't want to get beat up by your friend. Dante teased. Tech growled softly and replied, I don't know what you are talking about. Just do your job and find my girl, okay? Dante chuckled as he nods his head. Alright, Tech. I'll let you relax at the springs. Good luck in finding her. Tech smirks. You wish. The two friends left their separate ways as Tech heads for the springs. Hidden Lotus Hot Springs. Tech arrives at the place and walks up to the entrance as he sees a young woman at the desk. Hello. Welcome to our my kami. Tech. The woman squealed in delight. Tech groaned. Hello there miss. How's everything doing for you? I should ask you the same thing. Where have you been? This whole place has been very quiet without you here. The woman said. Just traveling. Anyway, I'm going to the back and getting me a quick soak. Tech said as he heads inside to enjoy his nice bath. Tech. I think you should know that it's mixed bath Thursday. The woman informs him, but he was already gone. She sighs deeply and thought, I just hope that his girlfriend isn't inside. Tech was now stripping down to his boxers and grabbing a towel to get ready for his relaxation. He stops to hear about a few voices coming from the hot springs and was taking a quick look to see what was up. Tech looks inside to see about a few girls inside and raised his eyebrow in interest to know what this means. At least things couldn't get any better than this. Tech thought as he head towards the sliding doors. As soon as he was about to open the doors, it was opened by another person on the other side. Tech's eyes were then wide as dinner plates and his body became pale from looking at something that he regrets seeing in front of him after the last 4 years. In front of him was a girl with mint green hair and orange eyes with matcha skin color. But what made Tech blush a little was the fact that she was wearing nothing on her. The girl gasped in shock to see Tech in front of her. Tech was hoping he would see a loving smile from her, but he fears the most as he sees a tick mark on her head and an angry look in her flaming eyes. But if that didn't shock him, he heard her yelling, Tech. You crazy ass son of a bitch. Oh, crap. That was the last 2 words he said as he feels like his life is over as he meets his girlfriend. Phew.